Hey, listen, before we get into today's episode, let me ask you this. When's the last time you had a proper break? Whether you're a truckie, a shift worker, a parent, or just here for the laughs. We know you're working bloody hard just to keep the wheels turning, and that's why our mates at Nature Bee want to send you on the holiday of a lifetime. We're talking $20,000 worth of travel anywhere in the world. You name it. Fiji, Vegas, the Outback, Rome, Paris, London, doesn't matter. New York, you choose. Stick with us because only Bonafide listeners get the inside scoop on double entry weeks, exclusive offers, and a lot more. So hit the link in the show notes or head to naturebee.com. Read the T's and C's, and I'll tell you more as we roll on throughout the episode of Bonafide, also made possible thanks to Nature Bee.
In a world where voices are silenced,
Please.
one man refuses to lie down.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
He's been punted not once,
40 years they've been trying.
not twice,
You couldn't fire somebody if they were horrible, doing a terrible job.
but 3 times.
You're fired.
He doesn't tell you what to think, but gives you something to think about. Welcome to the Bonafide podcast with Luke Boner. And he's not
All right, here we go.
done
Hold your ears, folks.
yet.
It's showtime.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Look at the time. It's episode 76 o'clock. We think. But why do you roll your eyes? I can see you. You're on camera. Why do you do that?
It's hard not to, honestly.
And thank you for joining us again. Can you believe it? So let's roll on because there's lots to talk about, lots of interesting people to meet. I can't wait. Our resident veterinary surgeon, Dr. Rob Zammit, is back. Did you know that there is a possibility that sharks could hold the answer to the cure of cancer? They have a unique DNA that's evolved over millions of years and very hard for sharks to get cancer. Why? We will find out. That and other things with Dr. Rob Zammit. Can't wait to talk to James Ward, the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. 40 years? Great Scott! We're going to talk about the DeLorean, one of the most recognizable movie cars of all time. Was it all it's cracked up to be? Apparently, maybe not. There's an interesting history behind it. And if you find a DeLorean for sale, what would you expect to pay for it? We'll have a look at that. So shall we hit the road? Where we're going, we won't need roads. You see what I did there? The Man Cave is coming up and a quick drive-by with Jason Morrison. And another shout-out to Chris Hammer, who's another one of our top listeners on Spotify Wrapped. Again, thank you to everyone who has supported us over the year. So this is not our last podcast before Christmas, but it's very Christmassy, isn't it, Millennial?
I wouldn't really say it's a Christmas episode.
Well, Die Hard wasn't a Christmas movie and everyone thinks so.
Yeah, I guess so.
Even, I'm telling you now, even Bruce Willis says it was not a Christmas movie.
I don't think I've ever watched it.
Yippee-ki-yay. You won't get it.
No.
Let's have a look and see what's been making news this week.
We love the news. Something to think about. Something to laugh about. We're talking news. Something to think about. Something to laugh about.
Wow. The government minister expenditure rort continues to roll on for Annika Wells. Anthony Albanese was trying to defend these rorts on Channel 7 the other day. Natalie Barr just lost it. Look, we'll go into more detail on this with Jason Morrison a little bit later on. But let's just have a little listen to this. This is a teaser.
Know what this phone is? This is a text line. they're not gender specific. They're saying, my husband's a truck driver. He's away all the time. I don't get flown to see him. This is a quote. I don't want to hear that this spending is within the rules. It's common sense. It's too much money.
I understand that that's the case.
Should the rules change?
And whenever, the rules are not, I haven't set the rules.
But you have an opinion, you're the head guy.
We have an independent, one of the things that's really important. The REM Tribunal, something at arm's length, sets my salary and the salary of politicians.
Will you promise to look at it, poly spending?
We always look at measures, and the Independent Parliamentary Expenses Authority examine these things on a consistent basis, and they will continue to do so.
And if they want to stick with the 3 business class airfares that every MP gets to fly their family around, you're okay with that?
No, what I'm okay with is it being at arm's length from me. I don't want to be the arbiter
anymore. The guy who dobs everyone in.
Any more than that, then you get to decide Shervo's salary or what his conditions are, or vice versa.
Except the taxpayers aren't paying for us.
He's still backing his minister, Annika Wells. Look, she has referred her spending now to an independent arbitrary force, and that will give her an excuse to say, inappropriate for me to comment anymore, it's now being looked at. Look, I hate using the term pub test, but it does not meet any community standards. By peer, we'll talk about that with Jason Morrison a little bit later on. The rules have to change.
Nat Barr was not letting Anthony Albanese go without at least making him feel uncomfortable, and I have a lot of respect for that. So I think she did a great job handling that, because it's, you know what, it's nice to see politicians squirm every once in a while. It kind of reminds you that they too are human.
Well, I don't know if they are. They live in a bubble in Canberra, and they think they're above us all, and their snouts are in the trough, and you'll see that government ministers on both sides of the political fence are running away from this, and that's because they're all in it. They are all in it, and they don't want the guidelines changed. But more on that a little bit later on. Hey, listen, thanks to Dr. Carl for drawing our attention to this. Radiation-eating fungi, particularly Cladosporum sparos... What is it?
We're not even going to try and pronounce that word.
No, I practiced this.
Sphaerospermum.
Sphaerospermum and Cryptococcus neoformans. How am I going with that, Kelsey?
Fantastic.
Have been discovered thriving in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. These fungi have a unique ability to utilize ionizing radiation as an energy source through a process known as radiosynthesis. Mechanism of radiosynthesis, melanin role. The fungi contain melanin, which is a pigment that helps them absorb radiation. And this pigment probably allows them to convert gamma radiation into chemical energy. That's kind of similar to how plants use sunlight for photosynthesis. But anyway, it seems like something out of a science fiction novel. When are we talking to Dr. Carl again?
Oh, hopefully soon. I probably would think it'd be in the new year sometime. But did you also hear that the protective layer that, keeps the radiation inside nuclear reactor number 4 at Chernobyl was damaged in the airstrikes in Ukraine, and now they're trying to figure out, how do we put another sarcophagus over Chernobyl? It's crazy that this is still something that we're dealing with. We're going to be dealing with it forever.
Nuclear fallout, the gift that keeps on giving, Kelsey.
Oh, very annoying.
Hey, as we predicted, Barnaby Joyce is moving to One Nation. No surprises here. Look, he's a very popular member in his seat of New England. I reckon, Kelsey, if you look at the polls this week, the news polls and the poll in the Australian, One Nation is having its highest approval rate ever, ever. And that's because the Conservative voters have nowhere else to go. They don't see Susan Lee as an alternative, and they're flocking to One Nation. Don't know if it'll hold out to the next election, but the polls are interesting, aren't they? And I guess Barnaby Joyce, after leaving the Nationals, is now saying he's backing a better horse. I wonder. Time will tell. We spoke to David Littleproud, the leader of the Nationals, last podcast. He's not impressed with Barnaby Joyce, and I actually said to him, well, if he joins One Nation, will he become a political enemy? This is what he had to say. When did you first know that he was going to sit on the back bench and leave the Nationals?
When he announced it, his National Party family, he shouldn't leave. The ball's in his court, but the disappointing thing is not for us in our party room, it's for the members. Those people, those thousands of members across the country that are given so much. And even in his darkest hours, during his 20 years as a member, the party has stuck by him. I think that's what we just want to continue to reinforce to him, is that it would be a shame to see him turn his back on an organisation, on a movement that has given and offered him so much.
Will he become a political enemy?
Sure will be. We won't hold back. The reality is they're a protest party. You can't change the way the country is going to be governed by sitting on the sideline. All you get is a professional complaints desk that sits outside the room, that yells and screams but doesn't have influence.
Well, in the statement he released recently, he said, "I have never had a personal issue or problem with Barnaby Joyce. This issue is about Barnaby wanting to be the leader of a party." So clearly, it seems that, at least to some people, Barnaby isn't doing this for the betterment of the country. He's doing it for the betterment of his ego. So time will tell, I guess. Actions speak louder than words. So I don't think Pauline Hanson would ever give him the leadership of One Nation, though.
Yeah. Just remember, Pauline Hanson thought it'd be a good idea to invite Mark Latham into the One Nation bed with her, and look how that ended. A very strong person with a very strong personality, a man who once led the Parliamentary Labor Party to a failed election against John Howard, but always wanted leadership aspirations. That didn't work well, Mark Latham and One Nation. So let's see how it goes with Barnaby Joyce. I'm not saying they're similar, but they both have leadership aspirations, as I say. And Barnaby was, at one point when he was leader of the Nationals, was Deputy Prime Minister. So let's just watch the space, shall we, Kelsey?
Yeah, well, she also thought that cooking steak on a Breville was a good idea.
A lot of people reckon it is a good idea. A lot of people say it's a very good idea.
You know what? That is true. That is
I
true.
haven't tried it yet. How about it going to Jaffle, mate? Not for me. Kelsey, what have you found on Google?
Look, you will not know this because you are a technological dinosaur, but you can use Google's advanced search features and actually find out what a group of people, what has been their top searches, right? And this actually comes from EFTM, Trevor Long. He had a look at what Australians were searching for most in 2025.
Okay.
So these are the top overall searches for Australia. Number
Shall we
one.
Go from 10? Shall we get no? Build some suspense. I've got to
Oh, okay. So
start
number
at
10.
Count down to number 1.
Okay, so number 10 was the iPhone 17. That's boring. Number 9, Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, he was very popular. And when he died.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Number 8,
Black
India
Sabbath.
versus England. That's got to be a cricket thing, surely.
Yes. Well done.
Yeah. 7, St. Patrick's Day. Why do we care? Oh, I guess there's lots of Irish people living in Australia these days.
Yeah.
Number 6, Ed Gein. Who's that again? Ed Gein, also known as the Butcher of Plainfield and the Plainfield Goal, was an American murderer, serial killer and body snatcher.
People in Australia looked up Ed Gein.
People in Australia were looking up Ed Gein, and I think I know why. There is a Netflix series about him called Monster, the Ed Gein story. So I suspect that is why it was. I don't think that would be that into that, though.
No, I didn't. Well, there you are. Netflix has a wide web, doesn't it? So people are looking up Ed Gein, Gein. What's number 5?
Belle Gibson. You know who she is.
Yeah, the fake health
Cancer
expert.
fraud.
Cancer fraud,
yeah. Number 4, Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Number 3, the Australian federal election 2025. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Number 2, Charlie Kirk.
The assassination of
makes
Charlie
sense.
Kirk. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And number 1 was Cyclone Alfred.
Really?
Which makes sense. I mean, I guess these are all very appropriate Google searches.
Ed Gein, I don't get Ed Gein. I don't get the iPhone 17. Oh, well, see, I'm not a tech.
You also don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, true. Anyway, there you go. That's what Australians Googled this year.
Yeah. I wonder if we can look up what your top searches were for 2025.
You're welcome to do it anytime.
How to copy and paste.
Yeah, that'll be in there. Got a message from Mandy. Mandy's from Griffith. Do you know where Griffith is?
Regional somewhere.
Yeah, well done. Griffith is, well, it was the marijuana capital of Australia at one time, and Look up politician Donald Mackay, who's buried somewhere in Griffith. But, some thoughts on the social media ban. As an aunt with a niece who lives in regional New South Wales, the social media ban has its pros and cons, hopefully for the better. But what about the teens who live in regional towns who rely on those platforms to remain connected? Is it a disservice to sever that connection and risk accountability, or will it be a source of good? My niece is sensible enough to keep her wits close, but I worry it will impact her already very small social circle. You can still message people. You can still go on the Messenger, can't you?
Oh, I don't. Facebook Messenger is part of Facebook, so I suspect you wouldn't have access to that.
You can still use Messenger.
I don't think you can. It depends what messaging service you're using. Most kids don't text each other these days. Most kids use Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, those platforms to message each other.
There's bound to be a way around it. And I guess you say to your parents, can you set me up with something I'm allowed to use so I can stay in touch with my friends?
Yeah, but it's a good point for people living in regional areas. Like people in regional Australia have a completely different experience to those that live in metro. So yeah, blanket rules don't seem to work. But I mean, I guess the mother of Tilly, the young girl who died in Bathurst, or she committed suicide because she was getting bullied on Snapchat, I think she would probably still say that these laws are appropriate regardless of where you live. So it really depends.
Just remember when John Howard brought in after the 1996 Port Arthur massacre, they removed 650,000 illegal firearms from Australia. Now, criminals will always hang on to their guns, and there was absolute outrage with the gun buyback program, but it worked. It worked, and farmers were outraged. Farmers can keep their guns, legitimate farmers for pest control can keep their guns, but there was absolute national outrage, but that policy worked. So
yeah. And now we're very proud of that policy as a country. Like now we're very proud of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Americans can't believe it. But we haven't had a gun massacre. I hate saying we haven't had a gun massacre since because it's sort of tempting people to go out and do stupid things. Now we have knife violence.
Yeah.
We got an email from Darren. Hi, Luke and gang. Listening to the latest podcast discussing movies and Bill Cosby. I remember a 1976 film called Mother, Jugs and Speed, starring Cosby, Larry Hagman, and Raquel Welch as an ambulance crew. One disturbing scene from it was when they picked up a pretty woman who was unconscious, and Larry Hagman's character was found in the back of the ambulance having sex with her. Not sure if Cosby had anything to do with the writing, but you need to question anything he does now. I don't know that movie. Oh, that's terrible. Larry Hagman was JR in Dallas, but of course he was best known as Master in I Dream of Jeannie. Wow.
Mother, Jugs and Speed? Is Jugs referring to...
Yeah. Rest, I guess.
Oh, God. What you could get away with in the 70s, you probably... Well, no, you definitely would not get away with these days. So,
well, I mean, you look at performers like Al Jolson putting on blackface and singing black songs, a white man pretending to be an American Negro, or the Black and White Minstrel Show. Look at that. Look at reruns of Benny Hill and Are You Being Served and Kingswood Country. Oh, God. Love Thy Neighbour. None of it appropriate today, but at the time, with context, it was all very, very funny.
Well, they also would have been forced into doing that stuff by their managers.
No, at the time it was considered funny.
Well, that's what I mean, though. But a lot of the time, the choice to do those things, not that they would have disagreed anyway, but a lot of those decisions were made by people above them.
Offended back then because they just thought it was funny and normal to be racist, sexist. They thought it was funny.
Well, I'm sure people were offended. It's just we didn't.
We poo-pooed them. We said, stop being such a square, man.
It's a very white thing to say.
Adam sent in a video he wants us to share. The video was originally posted on Instagram by @AdamJ.Schultz. Let's have a listen. I haven't heard this, so this is a first for me.
The Victorian government is releasing the toughest road laws in decades, but they're not telling anyone about it. These laws come into force January 1st next year, 2026. If you are 1 to 10 kilometres over the speed limit, you get double demerit points. If you are 20 kilometres over the speed limit, your car may be taken from you on the spot. for at least 7 days. It's impounded. Then you have to go to the court, beg the judge for your car to be returned to you. They are bringing out a nationwide phone detection system with AI cameras to see if you're looking at your phone on your lap, when it's on the dashboard, it follows eye movements. If you're reading text in your car while you're sitting in your car and reading it, whether you're at a stoplight or not, you still get a fine. If you're stopped at a red light and you're texting, you'll get a fine. The first offence is $500 and 4 demerit points. The second offence and thereafter is $1,000 and suspension of your licence. Under the new regulations, if you drive more than 4 hours, it is mandatory for you to take a 30-minute rest. Cars built after 2024 have a computer logbook built in the system. Now, if you're pulled over by the police and they suspect you're driving more than 4 hours, they are able to access that computer and feed off the data.
What's his
source? All right, so that is what Adam wanted us.
I would look into that.
Yeah, I did. So as of late 2025, the major new Victorian road laws for 2026 isn't a single sweeping change, but rather the ongoing implementation of rules from mid-2025, primarily requiring drivers to slow to 40 kilometres an hour when passing stationary emergency roadside vehicles with flashing lights. While there's talk of older drivers needing vision tests from 2026 and potential P-plate age changes, these aren't confirmed, and many online quote-unquote new laws are fake. Focus remains on safety for workers and new vehicle standards. And recently, Transport New South Wales had to kind of come out to address a lot of fake online articles that are generated by AI, talking about these, what seem on the surface is, very like, oh my God, what's happening? The claims are based in nothing. So
I would check out a lot of that.
We'll keep an eye on it.
I would check out a lot of that, especially the police, your car's computer being like a logbook, 4 hours, and then if you've proven to have driven more than 4 hours, you can get a fine. I would check the source of that. And we'll discuss it with James Ward next time we speak to him.
Yeah, I just think there's no way in hell we wouldn't have heard about this on breakfast TV if it was true. There are definitely media commentators who would have jumped all over this if it was true.
All right, watch this space, folks. We'll get to the bottom of it. Don't worry. But thank you so much for the heads up. But you've given us something to look into. This is something interesting. Now, this is a comment from Brad. Melbourne homes, almost entirely made in China, are being built in the city's north in what's believed to be a first for the city. A series of 5 townhouses are being put together in Craigieburn from prefabricated models made in an environmentally controlled factory in Wu. That's not where the virus came from, is it? No.
No.
Anyway, it's a town west of Shanghai. Brad's asking if these prefabricated homes are going to be up to code. So something else for us to look into, Kelsey.
Yeah, and if you're a builder listening to this, I want to know what you guys think about prefabricated homes coming into Australia. And funnily enough, I actually saw some prefabricated homes on sale on bloody Shein or Temu or something. So like you could literally just buy them, because surely this is an issue for the building industry if jobs are being taken away because we're just like ordering IKEA houses.
Well, there are 3D houses now. There are people who build 3D houses.
You mean like the 3D printer with the concrete? But they're still keeping jobs like in Australia. If we're just buying the homes and bring them over here and all you need is, people that know how to work a screwdriver, then it's going to take away a lot of jobs. But the building industry itself is...
If only you'd come from Sweden, there would be IKEA houses, wouldn't there? And you'd get your whole house delivered and they would have forgotten the Allen key.
Yeah.
We'll look into that. Got this message from Danny. G'day, Luke. I've been listening to your podcast on Spotify for a little while and really like Truckee Tuesday. I was wondering if you would like a truck song to play for that show. I got a single called A Truck Thing. It's out on all streaming platforms and services. If you're interested, have a listen. Appreciate your time. Danny Bevan. Well, Kelsey, Cue it up.
Let's have a listen.
Drop the needle. That's all. You don't know what that means, do you?
Popping gears and stacks pointing high, blowing black smoke with every mile. Gearing up, gearing down, that's just how it is. Out here in the West is where it begins. Pedal to the metal, that's how we live life. Chasing them dreams and getting in strife. We don't leave our families behind to jump in that truck just one more time. You climb up, get in, turn that key, grab that gear and let the turbo sing. Keeping the pedal down, rain, hail or shine. It's a truck thing, baby. A truck thing, baby. A truck thing, baby, that'll never die. Whether it's light, heavy, or oversized, keep it moving day or night. Without trucks, man, the country stops. You gotta get on up and get the job done. You climb up, get in, turn that key, grab that gear and let the turbo sing. Keeping the pedal down, rain, hail or shine. It's a truck thing, baby. It's a truck thing, baby. A truck thing, baby, that'll never die. Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I'll have to listen to it a few times, but it's funky. It's called A Truck Thing. Danny Bevan. We'll have to give it the Rod Hannafy road test.
Yeah, we'll play it for Rod Hannafy.
Yeah, we'll have that queued up, ready to drop the needle. Doesn't know what I'm talking about, folks. Next Truckee Tuesday, okay?
Let's do it.
Hey, listen, there's a lot coming up.
I'm sitting back, radio on, loop on, talking, keeps me rolling along. Stories and laughter that brighten my day. Got that bluesy rhythm, but it's swinging my way. Oh, I got the look on a blues, but they're the kind that chase away the gloom. Tapping my feet, smiling wide, happy blues, right with me tonight. From the outback tales to the city lights, spinning yards, it feels just right. Every word's a beat, every lap's a tune, turning my blues into sunshine song. Now the blues ain't always sad, you see. They can lift you up, set your spirit free. With Luke on the mic and joy in the groove, I'm singing happy blues. Got nothing to lose.
Time to go motoring with our favourite motoring expert, James Ward, Content Director for drive.com.au. G'day, buddy. Welcome back. God, you lead a busy life. Where have you been? What did you see? Who did you see? What did you accomplish?
Yeah, look, I've been travelling a fair bit. So the week before last, I went to Germany and Austria to see some new Mercedes-Benz products. So I went to the AMG factory where they make the V8s and four-cylinder engines. I went to Sindelfingen, which is the big Mercedes factory there in Stuttgart, where we saw the new S-Class. Can't really talk too much about that just yet. But then drove from there to Innsbruck in Austria and drove the new CLA Hybrid. There's a review. By the time this goes up, there'll be a review of that live. Really nice little car. That'll be coming to Australia mid to late next year. And we drove up to the Austrian Alps, which was pretty spectacular, and saw the new GLB, and you can read about that on drive.com.au. So this is the entry-level, thereabouts Mercedes SUV. There's now, what they've done is, like many brands who've sort of tried a few things with electric being a bit different and everything, they've gone, you know what, let's just make everything the same. So the GLB replaces now the EQB, which was the electric one, and the old GLB. So you can now have one, they look the same. You can have a petrol hybrid or you can have an electric one, whichever one you want. They'll both be coming to Australia. There's a heap of tech in this car. Like, it really is designed for a younger generation. You can see this next sort of evolution of drivers coming through. But yeah, very cool. It's got 5 seats or 7 seats, but it's still quite little. It's very efficient. They've done a new petrol hybrid engine. So yeah, there's a bit of detail on that. But it was really cold before everybody asks. It says, oh, that must be nice going to Austria. It was so goddamn cold. It was like minus 10 in the sun and it went down to minus 14 and I'm trying to do video and you could feel your body shutting down as you're talking.
Yeah.
But it's spectacular. So, you know, if you get a chance to travel with Mercedes-Benz to Austria, it was pretty amazing.
I'd rather go travelling with Senator Annika Wells and go business, to be honest.
Business. She's up the super pointy end. She's going first, I think. She's got the, what's the one in, is it Etihad? You get the apartment. You know, it's
but it's all within government guidelines, mate. Come on, that's all within the guidelines.
You know, they say it in the radio. Does it pass the pub test? No,
no.
It's not even considered. You don't go, well, I need some more information. No, it does not. But yeah, look, so I did that. Ate lots of schnitzel and strudel, and another thing they have there called Kaiserschmidt or something like that, which is like a big dessert. But yeah, really nice, really spectacular. What I did do for the first time, actually, is they had a snowy pass that went from where we were in Hochgurgel, which is an Austrian ski resort, up to a place called Timmeljoch, which is the border of Austria and Italy. And it's 2,500 meters above sea level. It was ice and snow everywhere. We had the cars. They were on Michelin snow tires, which make a huge difference. But they're the 4MATIC all-wheel drive. It was amazing. Like it was just like driving on a normal road. Really, really impressive to be able to do. But then last week, mate, I came back. I literally flew back, went to bed, got up about 2 hours later because I was just cooked. We did all of our 2026 Drive Car of the Year group testing last week, and we had 55 cars. We were at a Calder Park near Melbourne. We used the facility there. We had the Thunderdome, but they've got a 4-wheel drive testing centre there. They've got like various bits and pieces. So we did our dynamic testing and road loops and all that sort of stuff. We've announced the categories. We'll start rolling out finalists and then the announcement for the winners and everything will be made in early 2026. But really keen to hear, you know, like it's interesting. There's a lot of change happening in the market. There's some new brands. There's new technology. There's more car for your money, despite cars costing a bit more. You get so much car now for your money. It's crazy.
You do.
Really impressive stuff coming through. So, if you are interested in the best cars on the market, stay tuned at Drive because we're going to be rolling out a lot of behind-the-scenes testing because we get asked every year, I don't think you do this and I don't think you did that and how do you measure that? So we've documented it all. So we've done all of our acceleration and brake testing. We did swerve testing. We did road loops. We did 4-wheel drive loops. We did all sorts of things. And we sit in them. We go through them. We sit in all the seats. We fold everything. It's a lot of work, a lot of notes. But yeah, it'd be good to show everybody a bit of behind the scenes.
I would have loved to have gone to the AMG Centre.
Mate.
AMG standing for Albrecht, Melcher and Grobask.
Yeah, that's the town where they were.
Now Hans Werner Albrecht and Ernest Melcher.
So Mr. Albrecht, he's still kind of involved, and
really,
it's it's wholly owned by Mercedes-Benz now. But what they do, so what we did there was had a look at the V8 production line, and so you know when your car would have this, the one man, one engine. And you have you have a little plaque and it's signed.
I have a plaque, a template on the top of the donk, on top of the manifold, and it's signed.
Yeah. So we watched them do that, and it literally is. So they take it from a station, and it's just this. It's very, very clever what they do. It's all sort of computer managed now. So the computers are watching the tools, and they're so if you're putting on the head bolts, it knows the torque settings on the wrench, so the computer sets it to what it needs to be. So it's a giant Meccano set. In one way. But the guy who was showing us around said, it's not that easy. You can't just go, put tab A into slot B and screw here. It's not IKEA. These guys know what they're doing. They are really talented engineers who are building these things. But watching the step, and every step is tested to make sure that these things are built well and to tolerance and everything. And as we know, that 4-litre twin-turbo V8 is in pretty much everything now that Mercedes have got at an AMG performance level. But amazing to watch. And we saw them do the 4-cylinder one as well, so the one that's in the A45 and cars like that. And even watching that process, it's all very high tech, but very, very kind of cool in the way. It's not like a clean room where everyone's wearing, slippers and dust suits. It's just these guys that they love their job. They're able to do it, but it's really, really cool to see. So the engines are built there in Affalterbach, in just outside of Munich. They don't build any of the cars there. They're sent to where the car factories are, because you think if you're buying a GLS, that's built in the US. If you're buying a G-Wagon, that's built in Austria. So it depends where the car factory is. But all those V8s and the little hypo 4-cylinder, they're all made there in Affalterbach. But they showed us a couple of other things. They showed us the simulator that they use to develop cars. It's very, very, like, if you think your PlayStation's got good graphics, this thing is nuts. Like it moves like a hovercraft on a cushion of air to simulate that movement. And they can recreate corners and they can change settings on the cars. They say it saves them thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, so that then when they do go out and do field testing, they've got a far more solid understanding of the development that they're into. And I went for a ride in the new AMG 4-door GT. Now, you would have seen there was an ad going around where Brad Pitt and George Russell are in it, and it was this thing. So it's a 4-door coupe, think Porsche Taycan kind of thing. So it is fully electric, but they've put in a simulated engine noise. It sounds all right. Like it's got a simulation from a naturally aspirated, I think it's a AMG GT3 car, like a race car. It sort of shows, again, we're moving to a younger generation of buyers. It's got rumble packs in the seat. So when it accelerates, the seats sort of vibrate. And it's like you kind of start to forget that it's electric, because you get overrun. When you come off the throttle, it responds that way. And I think it's this sensory kind of thing that the manufacturers are putting back in to have a bit of fun. But look, amazing what they do there. And actually, I stayed at a place, you'll love this. I stayed at a place in Stuttgart called the V8 Hotel. Mate, I'm going to show you my bed. I don't roll out the bed that I sleep in on too many podcasts. But have a look at that.
Oh,
that's the bed in my bedroom. That is a W112 Mercedes-Benz. It had some weird Pan Am motif as well, but the car is the bed. And it's like, you do you, Germany. But it needs to be long wheelbase. I'm tall, right? So, I can't sleep in a smart car, so I need an S-Class.
I love that.
Well, they say most of the guests, so you'd love it. Next door to the hotel, there is a classic Mercedes dealer, and he would have had like $20 to $30 million worth of cars in there, like gull wings and pagodas and stuff. But they say that the majority of guests who stay there are people who are coming to that Sindelfingen factory. They're Germans who come to do factory delivery. So if you are a German citizen and you buy a Mercedes-Benz, and it's built in Germany, you can go and pick it up from the factory. You can do a bit of a tour, you can do some things, and you can go and roll out the factory gate. So it's a bit of an experience. I remember, like, you used to be able to do that in Australia. You used to be able to fly over there, pick up your car from the factory, drive it around for a month on a holiday, and then drop it at the port, and they would ship it back to Australia. But they changed the rules because Australia now considers that to be a used car and not a new car, because you drove it. And so it screws up the GST, which spoils it for everybody. I think that's the government ruining everybody's fun. What a great way to do it. Imagine going to buy a sporty Merc or a BMW or a Porsche or something like that, and you go to Germany and you pick it up and you hoon around on the autobahns. You go, this is amazing. And then you stick it in a box and it comes back to Australia, and you can go to the coffee shop.
I love that story. I really love that story. I can't wait for your slide night. You just...
Yeah, I do have a slide night, like this is the sort of excitement level that I have. Mate, I tell you, like the new tech in some of these cars, even me, like I look at the automotive tech and you go, yeah, cool, I get that. But these ones in the CLA that I drove, it's got 3 screens. So it's got a digital instrument cluster, it's got the center screen, it's got a passenger screen. But the passenger can run, and this won't work in Australia, but it does work in some markets, but it's very clever. The passenger can run like streaming video. It's got Disney Plus and Angry Birds and Amazon on there. So you can watch videos in the car as the passenger, because they're saying it's all about that infotainment as well. But there's a camera on the dashboard, so that if I am the driver and I look at my mirror, it knows that I'm looking at the mirror. So across the passenger, I'm on a left-hand drive car, I'm looking across the mirror. But if I look at what the passenger's watching, it detects my eye movement looking at the screen, and it mutes the screen, so I can't see it. So, they're pretty tricky. But this Range Rover did that a few years ago. They had a polarized screen that if from the driver's seat and in a right-hand drive car, if you looked at it, you could see the clock and some information on the car. But on the passenger seat, if you looked at it, you could watch TV. And so you could hear the TV, but it was weird. You remember those weird kind of flippy kid book things you had, or if you move it, it would animate, or it would be a different picture at different sides. It's that technology in cars, if you could call that technology. But the idea that, from the driver's perspective, you don't see anything bad, you don't see moving images, you just see some basic information. But from the passenger side, you can see what's going on. So, wild. I don't think we need Disney Plus in cars, quite frankly. I think people should probably concentrate a bit more, but it's a wild world, mate. And I've got grey hair and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think you do. James Ward is with us. You mentioned Mercedes and classic Mercedes cars, and you said the Gullwing, which is just so famous. And it reminds me, and I wanted to talk to you about this because I was talking to our entertainment expert, Shane Adam Bassett, about the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. Okay, you know where I'm going here.
I do. If we're talking collector Gullwings, there's only one other car we could really talk about.
Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about the DMC DeLorean. I saw one just down the road at my service station 2 weeks ago. He was coming out as I was going in because I wish I could have gone up to him and had a chat with him about it. So I've tried to do a bit of research because that car took the world by storm.
Absolutely.
And John DeLorean, who eventually went bankrupt,
and to jail.
And to jail. Had these things made, believe it or not, in Ireland because of a deal
he was delivering some things in the cars.
But anyway, these cars were made in Ireland because he did a deal with Margaret Thatcher to open up industrial plants in the UK. But anyway, so it was stainless steel. It had the famous gull wings. Yeah. And from what I understand, looked sensational, but was an absolute dog of a car. Now, I wanted to ask you about this because the car, I think the first one was finally completed in 1981, and they only made 9,000 units. And in 1983, the whole thing went to shit, and DMC filed for bankruptcy. But can you, just for the sake of going down memory lane, 40 years since Back to the Future 1 and the famous DeLorean. Of course, the DMC factory one didn't come with a flux capacitor. It maybe should have, because they could have gone back in time and fixed the bloody thing and put a better motor in it. But James, take us through the DMC DeLorean. What can you tell us about it?
So look, it was a stunning design. So it was done by Giorgetto Giugiaro. So he's done the recent Hyundai Ioniq 5. He's done the Lancia Delta Integrale. He's a very famous car designer. So that's why it's very wedgy, very cool, very 80s. And it is that iconic design that really kind of lit up the imagination of everybody who went and saw Back to the Future. We'd never seen a car like this. It was never sold in Australia. It was never made in right-hand drive. And I remember that scene where it backs out of the truck and you're like, what is that car? It is so cool. And the idea that you've got this coupe that's stainless steel like a countertop that has the gull wings. And then, of course, our first impression of the car was in Back to the Future, and you hear it sounds tough, and he's doing, 88 miles an hour. Well, a little bit of Hollywood mystery here, because the thing had I think it was a Peugeot sourced, and look, I'm a Peugeot owner, I'm a massive Peugeot fan, but I know where the brand's limits are. It had Peugeot sourced, it was like a 2.8 litre V6 that put out a monstrous 97 kilowatts. Now, I don't know, I have a Peugeot now, right, that has 96 kilowatts out of a 1.4 litre 3-cylinder. So this is a twice the size engine, a 2.8 litre V6, putting out 1 kilowatt more. I have no idea how brands were able to create such little power from such big engines back then, but that is ridiculous. So it had no power. It was pretty unreliable because it was a bit of a bitzer, and it was hardly that John DeLorean was wanting to have this proper Kanban style, Toyota level factory. It was all a little bit kind of how you going with the production side of things. He also was, had his hand in the. He was basically exporting cocaine, well, not exporting, but importing cocaine into the US, smuggled into car parts. So he went to jail for that as well. He was running on a smell of an oily rag. Apparently, for the movie, they overdubbed the sound of a Ford V8 for the noise of the DeLorean in Back to the Future. And the idea that it could do, when he's doing 88 miles an hour, a standard DeLorean, out of the box, factory fresh, was not capable of doing 88 miles an hour, which is about 140 k's an hour, because it was just that gutless.
Really? So
you've got this cultural icon, if you will, that is perhaps flawed in many ways, but I tell you what, it still turns heads, right? And you see people doing the time machine conversion to them. So there are companies in the US that have got all the bits that they've created, so you can have those big vents on the back and the lights around it and a flux capacitor. And do you know what? Lean into it. It's like we said with the XB for Mad Max. You've got people who help you build these replicas, and it makes everybody's day brighter when they see one of these things. And even a standard DeLorean, they're pretty cool, but they are a bucket of shit is the technical term there. Don't go into it thinking it is a pointy sports car. Don't go into it thinking you're going to be able to mix it up with 911s and even Corvettes, which of that era were kind of wet blankets anyway. Yeah, the DeLorean was not a powerhouse car. It was not a great handling car. It was not reliable. It was not popular. It was a total flop. Old mate John DeLorean went to jail. But a company in Florida bought all the bits and pieces. And so in America, there's a company that's basically able to build new ones. They can restore them. And so it has achieved this cult status. And do you know what? I reckon that's brilliant. That's what we want in this world. This idea of a cultural icon that is this car with such a checkered past and very, very lackluster beginnings is still something that will turn heads and start conversations today. And that's great.
If you did get one, could you put a better engine in it? Is there room?
Yeah, there are people doing it. People turbocharging them. People putting modern engines in it. You see people putting, the EJ20 Subaru motor, because it's relatively compact and high power, and if providing you don't wind it up too much, reasonably reliable, and there's good parts. So there are people who are doing engine swaps to them. There are V8 swaps out there. So there's one in Melbourne that they've done an electric vehicle swap. So it's got an old Tesla battery and Tesla motor in there. So, it shows that the car, because its natural motor was so average, poor old Peugeot, it sort of leaves itself open to interpretation for swaps and re-engineering. So it's like when you see stories of people taking a classic 911 and turning it into an EV, you think you've ruined it. But with a DeLorean, it was already ruined. So, why don't you have a bit of fun with it and try something? So people who stick an LS1, people who stick a flat six out of a 911 or a Subaru Boxer in the back is always a good way to do it.
So as far as nostalgia is concerned, there it is. Can you believe it? 40 years. I went onto carsales.com and found a DeLorean that was for sale some time ago. I can't find a recent one. I think I sent it to you. $88,000 they're asking for.
Yeah, they're having a bit of fun with the 88.
Did you see that ad?
I did, and look, they go up and down. They were sort of trading in that sort of 40 to 50 range, and then they went up to that sort of 80 to 100 range. It really does depend on the car, because some of them are, what is the expression? Good from far, but far from good. There are a number here. Now, a reminder for anyone who's just thinking nostalgic, going, yep, this is what I'm doing. I'm buying a DeLorean. They are all left-hand drive. You do need to have it on historic registration, which is legal in most states, so it's not a problem, but you just need to go in there, eyes open. But do make sure it has been looked after, because some of them are, and here's the thing, right? A lot of them were bought by movie fans, not car fans. And so you've got these people who've got this cool car that is problematic, and they don't really come in with a mechanical mindset, and they're not really coming in to fix the car. They just love the whole Back to the Future kind of link. And you may have a car with problems there. So do get it checked. But the ones, you do see them that have the full time machine kit on them, and they look amazing. That's the way I do. I'd dial it up. I wouldn't spend 88. I'd spend maybe 130 and get one that has got everything on it, so you live your full Doc Brown, Marty McFly special.
I love it, James. Thank you so much. A little trip down memory lane. You're going to go soon, but I wanted to ask you about this. It's a story that I know you're across. It's about a young driver, and he copped a $2,200 fine and a 9 demerit point fine. He was caught cruising in an inner city suburb with an illegal device, and the device is used to black out a car's number plates.
Yep.
It's called stealth plate curtains. And these stealth plate curtains were fitted to both the front and rear registration plates of a blue Lexus GS. So I went and looked them up. And you can buy these things online. Oh, by the way, you can also buy radar detectors online, which are completely illegal. And in fact, you're dumbass if you use a radar detector, because all police cars now have radar detectors.
Radar detectors.
They're actually called RDDs. And you get caught, it's 9 demerits and a massive fine for a radar detector. But anyway, what are these stealth curtains that hide number plates? It's all done. You've got to wire it up, and it takes a bit of doing. Take us through it. What is it?
It's so dumb, right? So it's basically a like a little mechanical kind of thing that will shield the number plate. So if you're driving through a tollway and you're coming up to the number plate recognition camera on a tollway, you press a button inside the car and it essentially obscures the number plate. And then you press it again and it makes the number plate visible again. So you can go through a toll, it can't see your number plate, that means you don't pay. This is short-term win for long-term punishment, because it's the dumbest thing, right? Because this car was spotted by a dash cam. Somebody saw it and was like, oh, that's a bit wacky-dee. They then sent it to, I think, the media. It was on all the things. So then the cops are like, oh, okay, let's go and find this guy and get him. And that's the car from it. So you can't be that. Like, just don't speed. Don't do it. But we see all sorts of things where people were putting, what was the old wives' tale, where you spray on your cooking oil onto the plate.
I think it was VO5.
Yeah, okay, it was a hairspray. As you can see, I am a Vital Sassoon
You've got plenty of products. But
mate, that's it. It's all about volume here, as you can see. But yeah, look, the idea that you can do things to obscure your plate and outsmart the law, it's not going to happen. Every single highway patrol car in every state now is fitted with number plate recognition cameras. All they need to do is pull up behind you and they can see who you are, what your rego is, if so is your rego expired, have you got any outstandings, all that kind of stuff. You just don't do it. So what we are seeing now, and this I don't want to, this is a crime, and we're seeing it massively prevalent, certainly in Victoria, are cloned plates, where thieves will have, let's say they've got a blue Toyota, they'll see someone selling a similar blue Toyota, or they'll see a blue Toyota at the shops. They will then copy the number plates that car has. So, regular mum and dad driving their blue Toyota, bad crook sees they've got ABC 123 as their number plate. Bad crook makes a fake plate that says ABC 123. And months later, the innocent people are getting toll fines and speeding fines and things, because the cameras are saying, hey, look, it's a car the same colour as yours, it's the same number plate as yours, therefore it's you. And the burden of proof is then on you to show that you weren't that person. And this is where it's really, really hard, because this is an easy thing for criminals to do. But the punishment is basically on the individuals who have done nothing wrong at all, who just simply existed. So they do need to put in better checks. They are working on this. They're looking at having other ways of scanning plates and things like that. But yeah, it is rife. But these kind of devices and these kind of things, it might be a sneaky bit of fun to show your mates on Instagram or whatever, but you're going to get busted. And that fine is like, you think of how many tolls you would have had to have paid to offset that fine. It just makes no sense whatsoever.
It's up there with the radar detectors, and once again, you can buy them online, but you're mad if you get one, because chances are it won't work, because a radar detector emits a radio signal, and there are 3 signals to pick up the police radar, but the police now have a device that can pick up your radar detector.
Yep. The tech is crazy that you can have, but you can't outsmart them. And what are you doing, right? Like, if you're spending all this time and effort and money to go fast, just go to a racetrack. Go to a track day and go and have some fun. That's the safe way to do it. But yeah, look, it is pretty nuts. I'm glad that person got pinched. But these sort of devices, and as you say, it's coming up to Christmas, you might go, oh, well, maybe Santa's going to give me some illegal car accessories that I can buy perfectly legally and bring in perfectly legally. You can even install them on a car, but you cannot drive on the road. And this is the thing. So the legality comes into effect when you're driving on public roads. Don't do it. Don't try to outsmart the system. Don't try to be clever. They've seen it all before. There was one in the UK, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The plate had a magnetic leaf that obscured one letter of the number plate. The guy could press a button and the leaf would drop off from where it was and was attached, so he could then put it back on. So he could drive around, and from a distance you could see his full number plate, but it was like a leaf had got stuck on there. Apparently he was being tailed by some cops going, that leaf should have come off by now. Like, it shouldn't be stuck on there. And lo and behold, he was busted, and that's a big fine. So clever, points for trying, but don't do it. You're going to get busted.
James, you've got another appointment. Thank you so much. Drive.com.au. I look forward to seeing what your car of the year will be. As James said, Drive is currently testing. And
so look, we got 16 categories. There were 55 cars there that we were going through, some brand new ones that we hadn't even driven before to go through. We have everything in price bands, so we've altered our price bands a little bit this year. Nothing's more expensive than $150,000. We've got a lot of cars, so we've got a bunch of things under $30,000, under a lot of cars under $60,000, which we know the average new car purchase price is a tad over $60,000 at the moment. So really kind of to tune into consumers and say, okay, well, these are the best cars for normal people, for things to buy, because every year we could go do it and go, well, the best car that you can buy, Luke, is a Porsche 911. And that doesn't help anybody because we already know that. They're amazing, but they're $400,000. So, it's not really helping anybody. So we look at the breadth of the market where people are shopping. So we look at SUVs and utes and electric cars and hybrids and all sorts of things to give consumers the best advice.
Next time, it'll be just before Christmas, so we may talk about Christmas driving, freeway driving, highway driving.
I like that.
And you'll have some great tips. There's always car news out there. There's plenty of topics we had lined up today, but time got away and us. That bloody. See, if only we could get to 88 miles an hour in the DeLorean
and go back in time. And do things. Oh, mate, the things I would do. I would do this podcast again and again and again.
So it'd be a cross between Back to the Future and Groundhog Day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's it. I'd probably do some other stuff as well.
James Ward, love your work.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
It's been a little while since we've had our pet guru on the podcast, but he's back with us now, and he's affectionately known as my brother to another mother. He is the famous Dr. Rob Zammit, and he's back online again from his luxurious office there. I can see in the background there lots of books. You're looking very studious, and good to see you again, brother.
Great to be here, yes, and I'd be very proud to be part of your heritage. Very proud, very proud.
Hey, listen, I've got some questions for you. So can we get into it?
Let's do it.
Because I was reading an article on the BBC news site, and I actually saw a documentary. I'm a massive consumer of documentaries. I don't know why. Thirst for knowledge, I think. But I saw something really interesting, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this. The headline is, Shark DNA could help cure cancer. And it goes on to say, great white sharks may hold the secrets to curing cancer and other age-related diseases, according to experts. The first map of great white sharks' DNA has revealed mutations that protect these animals against cancer and other illnesses. Scientists are hoping that more research could help apply the findings to treating age-related illnesses in humans. The great white's ability to repair its own DNA has evolved in ways that ours hasn't. The research was carried out by a team of scientists at the Save Our Seas Foundation Shark Research Centre at Nova Southeastern University in Florida. And I thought, this is a question for Dr. Rob Zammit. So, Dr. Rob, take us through how a shark's DNA can repair itself differently to how humans have. Because I read somewhere that sharks and crocodiles are really kind of dinosaurs that have been around for a long, long time. And you would have thought that the human brain and we humans would have evolved more excessively compared to fish or reptiles. But according to this research, a shark's DNA has been able to evolve over many, many, many years now, possibly millions, I don't know, and their DNA can repair itself where ours hasn't learnt to do that yet. I guess it's a bit like an axolotl. If it loses a leg, it grows it back. Some lizards, they lose their tails and they grow back. We lose an arm, it doesn't grow back. Imagine if we could do that. So enough of me gibbering on, Dr. Rob Zammit. Your reflections on this story.
Yeah, so I guess a lot of people will be wondering, what has a veterinarian got to do with sharks? What does he know about sharks? So I'll give you a bit of background on that. Apart from the fact that I love the ocean, I love scuba diving, and like you, documentaries since before even Jacques Cousteau. I used to watch all the documentaries. I do love a lot of that. But I also, after graduation, I've been practicing for about some 5 years, I did a course called Biology of Fishes with a great big Russian professor. He was a fantastic man, Professor Walter Ivansov. What he didn't know about fish.
Hang on, his name was Professor Walter?
Walter Ivansov.
Oh, Walter. I thought his name was Water. Sorry.
No, it should be. He knew enough about it. But he was just a lovely, lovely human being. But anyway, the course that I did certainly even piqued my interest more on sharks. And later on, I did a bit of a project on microchipping sharks to work out if the Port Jackson shark kept going back to the same place to breed, a bit like birds do. Like a lot of our birds go to the same place, wild birds, to breed. I wondered whether sharks did the same. I never could complete that for government reasons, believe it or not, Luke. But anyway, sharks can get cancer, but it's not common. You see, Mother Nature was very particular about what species were to survive. She only selected the real best of the best, and that's sharks. They really evolved in such a way. Mother Nature is very happy with sharks' evolution and their ability to do so many things, including, we don't know how they're still working on how do they repair DNA. Mind you, we're doing that now in humans, but not just in the laboratory, we're doing it out in the field. There are patients with cancer whose DNA, Luke, has been rejigged, reprogrammed, fixed, if you like, to kill the cancer off. It's a thing called CRISPR. Now, it's not the bottom of your refrigerator.
Yeah.
CRISPR is CRISPR, and they first found this CRISPR thing inside bacteria. When a virus attacks a bacteria, and they do, viruses attack all sorts of things, even bacteria. Bacteria have a CRISPR that they can inject into the virus nucleic acid, either the RNA or the DNA, and it neutralizes the virus, so it can't attack all the bacteria again. And we have seen this and used this now. You know, they tried it in a herd of cattle. They produced 4 or 5% more milk, this herd, which is a hell of a lot of milk, by using CRISPR, by improving it. And they're using it in humans. I know they used it in the UK, a program where they injected CRISPR into a patient that had cancer. It literally splits the DNA and goes in there and changes things. And they've been able to cure some cancers in that way. So I would think that sharks probably have some form of CRISPR in them for when they get cancer. We do, yes, I know we've seen cancer in sharks. Back in 1908 was the first reported case of cancer in a shark, but it's very, very rare, very uncommon. Yeah. Having said that, of course, if a shark gets cancer and it debilitates it even slightly, it'll quickly get eaten by the other sharks. So that might be one of the reasons we don't see it as much. But undoubtedly, they've tried to use carcinogenics experimentally on sharks to see if they can induce cancer. Unsuccessful. They haven't been able to induce cancer in sharks. So it's only the ones that are rarely captured with a cancer or seen or photographed by divers that might have a cancer that we know they can get it. But it's not common. It's very, very rare in this species, and very likely it's going to come out like some sort of DNA modification, probably to do with this CRISPR or some other thing. The CRISPR, as I said, was found in bacteria. Who knows what they'll find in sharks? It could be an entirely different evolutionary process that has come to that. So, that's why we don't see it, and that's how they'll use it to help repair. And the other thing, of course, sharks, yes, they just go on keeping on. They just keep on growing. They just keep very slowly. They don't stop growth. The growth goes on all their life, unlike us. So the aging process is very, very different in this species. Again, Mother Nature is so happy with them. She just has evolved them in this way. They are the ultimate, I guess, hunting machine. They'll hunt and eat things. We think of them, we see movies like Jaws, who Spielberg says he wishes he'd never made Jaws because it vilifies sharks. And he knows now they're just acting naturally. They're going out, they're eating. If that's the prey that's there, if you happen to be in a black wetsuit looking like a seal, they'll chomp and they'll think, yuck, tastes horrible, and they spit you out. They usually don't keep on attacking humans because they hate the taste of us.
Yeah, tastes like chicken. Why do you think we're seeing such a huge spate of shark attacks in Australia, especially up and down the East Coast at the moment? I saw a drone piece of footage the other day on the news, and this was in New South Wales at a popular tourist spot, and there were bull sharks, massive school of them, chasing fish, and the water was only up to your thigh. It wasn't out deep at all. Why do you think we're seeing such a huge increase in reported shark attacks on humans?
Couple of things. One, there are just more sharks, full stop. We've had this...
Because they're protected.
They're protected. We've had this, hands off. You're not allowed to kill a shark. You're not allowed to, if you catch a shark, you mustn't kill it. There are just more sharks because they are very much protected. White pointers were the first, but all the other sharks now, they're all protected species. You're not allowed to catch them or do anything to them. And we have more bait fish. They're trying to harvest the ocean in a more ethical way. So commercial fishing is being decreased in a lot of ways. There's a lot more bait fish around, a lot more schools of bait fish. And also we don't know what climate change is doing exactly to a lot of the food chain. We know climate change is occurring. There are those people that just don't believe in it. But I have a friend who for decades, he's been taking people to the Antarctic, and not just on cruise ships. He lands planes there and takes tours on the ice. Mm-hmm. And I actually saw him just only 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And said to him, Peter, is the ice changing that much? He said, actually it is. He says, it's changed a lot. We've got rid of a lot of ice has melted away. We've made some comeback in the last year, he said, but which way that will go, we don't know. So climate change may be affecting a lot of things in the ocean, including the way that sharks have to come out and get these bait fish. And so they're closer to our environment. And if they see us swimming, we're just another animal they can prey upon. It's not a malicious attack, a vicious attack as often thought of. Yeah, it's probably pretty useless going out and chasing the shark that attacks someone. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
But it's probably, you won't get the right shark. And it makes no difference. The shark didn't say, oh, that was nice, I'll go back and get some more. It doesn't happen that way. What we have to do if we want to protect ourselves is sink a lot more money into research on how to stop the sharks coming into our beaches. Drone patrols are good. Drone patrols with AI would be great. If they could, set an alarm off if they see something that's like a shark, that would be ideal. And then the other thing, of course, is maybe an electronic repellent would be a great idea.
Yeah, they've been trying to develop that for a long time, but no one's come up with a gadget. And there are some on the market, but I think that the proof is still out there.
Yeah, I've spoken to some divers that said they had a school of sharks near them, they turned their gadget on and the sharks disappeared. Sometimes it might be some sharks, it might be some gadgets, I don't know. All sharks and all fish, remember shark is just a fish, they all have this electronic line down their sides. And if we can do something to make that environment very uncomfortable, they may not come close to whatever the device is. And so we'd have to have them, instead of nets, you'd have these devices around the beach. That could work well, but the research has to be done. It's not really, we're not sinking a lot of money into that type of research.
So you don't think that netting of popular beaches works?
Oh, yeah, I do. I have no problem with netting beaches.
Because the environmentalists will claim it doesn't catch all the sharks because the nets don't go all the way to the bottom, but it catches other things like turtles and other sea life that shouldn't be in nets. So I don't know. You talk to a council. You talk to anyone that's trying to attract people to their seaside suburbs during the holiday period. They want the nets there. They want them advertised because otherwise people are scared to come and spend their money.
Yep. Look, if they're really worried about the animals that shouldn't get caught in the beach, they could easily put the nets up and put some underwater surveillance cameras with them.
Right.
That would be possible. These days, technology would be able to do that so they could go out and free the turtle or free the dolphin or whatever it is. But I think nets do work. They have in the past. So I don't know why all of a sudden they wouldn't work. Yes, they're not going to stop every shark, but enough sharks are stopped by the nets.
It's amazing how sharks can develop and evolve so well. I'm talking, for example, whale sharks, or no, not whale sharks, bull sharks that have been found way up canals in those developments in Queensland, living in freshwater when where they should be in saltwater. They've adapted. It's amazing.
Yeah, they don't stay there long, but they have. Same in the Hawkesbury River in Sydney.
Right.
They go all the way up to Windsor Way, which is real brackish, or almost freshwater.
Yeah.
Sharks have been found up there. They adapt very, very well to the environment, and they need to because the environment changes so quickly these days. Their adaptation rate is just fascinating how they do it. You know, you put a saltwater fish in the freshwater tank, it won't last long. The saltwater fishes in the freshwater tank just die within hours. And yet sharks seem to be able to spend a lot of time in brackish or even freshwater for a while.
What do you think about sharks and big fish being used at amusement parks, at the Dream Worlds? Because there was a terrible incident with an orca that attacked its trainer, and that they shouldn't be in captivity for people's amusement. And I also read somewhere that great white sharks cannot be kept in captivity. They die.
Yes. We probably couldn't have a big enough area, and the area would be so big you wouldn't see them anyway. No one's been able to really keep a great white in captivity up to now.
They've got to keep moving too, haven't they? They've got to keep moving.
Correct. Oh, yeah, that's essential. Most sharks have to keep moving. Not all sharks. There are other ones like the wobbegongs, the Port Jackson, and a few others. When I've dived, I've seen black-tip reef sharks just laying on the bottom and under caves and things, but a lot of the sharks do need for water to be streaming through. And, see, back in the day, we used to think the grey nurse was the big killer shark, and it's not. It's actually quite an easy shark to just push away, and they go, oh, yeah, I'll get out of your way. Great whites, not so much. Of course, you can't push them away. Though people do free dive with them. But it's well I said, the sharks don't necessarily think, oh, there's some food. They look at a human as food. They tend not to. They bite because what is that? And the only way they can find out what is that is by having a bite of it.
And having a bit of a taste. So I'm continuing to watch these documentaries on sharks because the algorithm has learned if you watch one, it'll offer you another one, right? And we always thought that the great white was at the top of the food chain in the water. It's not. The killer whale, the orca, will hunt great whites, and they have found hundreds of examples of great white sharks washing up on the beach with surgical precision, their livers bitten out.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Orcas are very, very intelligent. They would rarely hunt on their own. They will hunt as a group of animals, a pack, if you like, whatever you want to call them. Remember, they're a whale, but they've got very well developed teeth and they can chomp through a shark quite easily. So they do hunt as a group, and they'll hunt other whales, and they'll certainly hunt sharks very, very easily. And in a pack, the pack goes out. Yeah,
like wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
And the way they, for example, in Antarctica, the Arctic, in the Arctic, there was footage of a seal that was on a big floating iceberg.
Yep.
And it had gone up there for safety. And a pod of about 6 of them went underneath, caused vibrations, and the ice block broke up.
Flipped over, yep.
And it was done in such a controlled way. Their communication was amazing.
Which, it makes you realise that they're communicating. First of all, they have to think about the concept. If we make enough waves and make the wave big enough, we can flip this iceberg. They have to think of all that and then work together as a group to do that. Their intelligence is outstanding, just outstanding. You just think, how do they do that? They even can, if the seals are on shore feeling protected, they'll sometimes just push the water up and push themselves up, grab the seal, and then go back into the water.
I know, so, they literally beach themselves.
Yeah,
but it's within centimetres of accuracy, because if they go too far, they may not get back in the water.
They can't get back in.
So the measurement is actually they've done studies on it. The measurement is within centimetres.
Yep. How they know that? I mean, we'd have to have a measuring tape before we try it.
I know,
but they just seem to do it and do it very well. They're extremely intelligent. Yes, and they do hunt. So the great whites are up there in the food chain, of course. But while they're hunters, they can be hunted as well.
By us?
Well, by us as well, yes, of course. And that's the thing. I mean, we've got to be careful. If we're talking about watching the numbers, and we were talking about, some people said cull them, you don't want to cull them right out. They have to be controlled.
And they're saying the same thing about culling crocodiles, but there are so many crocodiles because they're protected.
Yes, there were so few of them back in the day, protected. Now there's just literally hundreds of them. You go up any of those rivers, don't go floating down them on your back. Make sure you're in some sort of craft, because they're out there.
Unbelievable. Rob Zammit is with us. If you've got a question for Rob, let us know, lukebonaradioguy@gmail.com, or leave us a voice message, 0291289311, and next time we get Rob on, we'll play him your voice message and read out your email. Now, I want to talk to you about a question my daughter has for you, Dr. Rob Zammit. You have seen the photo of her new Miri.
Yes, I have.
It's the most beautiful little girl. Her name is Sabi, S-A-B-I, and she's a groodle. She's golden retriever poodle, but she's got long blonde hair, not the curly hair. She's got big feet, so she's going to get a lot bigger than what she is. But you've seen the photo, and we'll post it online. She's 4 months old, my daughter has just told me. She's 4 months old. Now, you've seen this dog. So Holly's got some questions for you. Number one, is it true that dogs need vegetables as well as meat?
The species, canine and domestic dogs are no different, have evolved eating in the wild cooked vegetables. Of course, everybody says to me, cooked vegetables? How do they get cooked vegetables in the wild? The issue we have is that we say, what's a carnivore? It's a meat eater. Yeah, that's correct. But really, we think of meat of what you buy in the butcher shop. Really, a carnivore is an animal eater. It eats the whole animal.
Right.
It eats the skin. It eats the bones. But the first place the pack usually goes to is the tummy, the abdomen, because there's blood there. There's heaps of fat there. There's just everything they want. The liver is there, which they like. But there's also, and they don't go there for this, they eat this unwittingly. All the vegetable matter that the herbivore has been eating is now cooked inside the intestines.
It's been partly digested.
Oh, very digested. If you fall into the rumen of a cow, probably 5-10 minutes, you're going to be cooked through, if that.
Really?
It doesn't take long for, I don't know how one would fall into the rumen of a cow, I agree, but theoretically, if that happened, you'd be cooked through very quickly. It's just a big cooking vat. The intestines of a herbivore are a big cooking vat for vegetables. So in the wild, they have evolved eating cooked vegetables. Of course, You've got to be careful what sort of vegetables. For example, no onions. Onions can cause a lethal anemia in dogs. Lethal anemia. So you don't feed them onions. Avocados and grapes are out. We don't give either of those. They can cause kidney failures and liver failure. And be careful because we think, Christmas time, we often have fruit cakes and puddings with sun-dried fruit. All those are usually grape-based and not good for dogs, can kill them.
What about this? Chocolate.
Chocolate, yes, of course, it's not a cooked vegetable, but it builds up a lot of caffeine in the dog and it lowers their resistance to seizures. It can bring on seizures if you give them too much chocolate. Best to avoid it totally and use one of the substitute for chocolate, like carob. Carob for dogs is fine. So you can use carob if you want to give your dog a chocolate-type treat. Then, carob's not going to hurt the dog. Too much potato. In America, they found it causes heart problems, a thing called cardiomyopathy. So, limit the amount of potato you give. Carrots are fine. Beans are okay as long as they're very well cooked. Beans and peas, legumes, not too much, but make sure they're well cooked. Beetroot's good for your dog. Cooked beetroot, really good for your dog. Helps its liver and everything.
Now, Holly's dog was here the other day.
Yep.
And you know what it ate? Like a bone.
Right.
A carrot. It ate the bloody carrot raw. It was a raw carrot. And it ate it. It was loving it.
That's not uncommon. Dogs do like the carrots because they've got sugar in them.
Ah.
And they enjoy the sweetness of the carrot like a bone.
Yeah.
They won't digest it necessarily. A lot of it, they'll get some of the juice out, which they'll absorb. But a lot of it will just go through. One thing I do say, I've been saying this for a long time, feed raw bones, not chicken, no raw poultry in dogs.
Oh, really? Because I was told that chicken wings, and so long as they were raw, I was told that chicken is okay for dogs. I'll tell her this, no chicken.
No raw chicken. If you want to give cooked chicken meat, that's fine. Never use cooked bones on the dog because the cooking of a bone solidifies the matrix of the bone, makes it indigestible, and that's when the bone can pierce the intestines. Raw chicken and raw chicken wings and raw chicken necks. People say, I've been doing it for a long time. Sure, you can get away with it, but there's a 70 to 80 times more chance of your dog developing a paralysis from raw poultry. It's called polyradiculoneuritis, but forget the name. It causes paralysis, and I have seen it in practice time and time again. The bones that I do like, brisket bones, either beef or sheep or mutton or lamb, brisket bones, and lamb necks. And I do try and give my dogs one a week or maybe one a fortnight. It really keeps their teeth clean. Now, when you think that if you take your dog to a vet and you want to get the teeth cleaned, it's sort of upwards of $1,800 and could easily go to $3,500 to have your dog's teeth cleaned and some extracted if they're bad. If you give bones once a fortnight or once a week, a hard bone, well, it's not a hard bone, brisket's not a hard bone, neither is lamb neck, but they do have to chew it. If you give them a chicken wing or a chicken neck, it goes chomp chomp, they're gone. They're soft. And they've done nothing for the animal's teeth. I give bones purely for oral hygiene, for their teeth. So they get that quite commonly. And I don't have to have the dog anaesthetized. Blood test checked first, then anaesthetized, then the teeth scaled and some extracted and some x-rays. My dogs don't need that because I do give them raw bones as part of their diet. Not every day, but as part of their diet.
All right, folks, no raw chicken. And it's so easy to do it because it's such a cheap protein to buy.
It's the cheapest. When we were kids, chicken was like maybe once a week or once a fortnight, a Sunday roast because it was so expensive.
All right, quick pit stop, folks. Let's talk holidays. Now, be honest. The road in front of you, the treadmill under your feet, or that pile of dishes in the sink, it's getting old. Now, picture this, swapping the dish soap for an icy Bingtane. Imagine the endless stretch of highway turning into a stretch of white, sandy beach. or that treadmill. Suddenly, it's the climb to Machu Picchu. Now, that's the feeling Nature Bee wants to give you with their bucket list competition. A chance to win $20,000 worth of travel anywhere you choose. And if your dream trip costs less, well, the rest is yours as spending money. You keep the change. Plus, there are plenty of little wins too. Gift vouchers to turn a long weekend into something special. And Nature Bee prize packs to give your insides the reset of a yoga retreat. All you need to do is spend $79.90 or more on Nature Bee products and you are automatically in the draw. So if you've ever thought of trying Power Pollen, this is the time to do it. Hit the link in the show notes or head to naturebee.com. Read the T's and C's and who knows, next time you're listening to Bonafide, you could be listening to us from the beach.
But the producers of chicken have made it the cheapest protein on the planet.
Okay, fish.
Fish, fantastic. I do tend to give them cooked fish because fish can harbour a tapeworm. I don't give them the bones. People say you can, and maybe you can, maybe you can't, but I just buy a cheap fillet, just microwave it for them very quickly and mix it with their food, whatever it is that I like to feed. I prefer to feed dry food. Billions of dollars. People say, I don't feed dry food. Or billions of dollars have gone into developing the best foods. Some of them are terrible. I don't doubt. Some of the cheaper ones.
Okay, well, give us a brand that you like. And by the way, these people don't advertise with me, and I wish they would. But are the mass-produced dog foods any good?
Oh, yeah, some of them. Ones that I do like, Black Hawk, it's an Australian brand. It's pretty good. Raw Cannon is excellent, an excellent food. Raw Cannon is good. Advance is a fantastic food. And a lot of them there's only a couple of manufacturers left, I guess, out there. There's only a few manufacturers. But Advance has certainly put a lot of money into very good technology.
It's called Advance or Advanced?
Advance.
Advanced dog food.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if these are available in supermarkets. They are in pet shops. Advance is certainly in pet shops.
Advance. All right. They don't advertise with us. We don't have a commercial agreement with them. But if they're listening, we'd like one. Advance. Okay. I'll get our sales rep onto them. But Advance, that's recommended by Rob Zemmett, who also I'm tipping doesn't have a commercial relationship with them.
But I'd like one.
Yeah, we both. Hey, listen, Rob and I are a team, okay? Advance. Rob and I are a team. Yeah. Hello.
It is an excellent food. It really is. And a lot of my friends use it. So I use that as the basis of my feeding, and then I'll mix something with them. People say, well, why do you bother if you tell me it's a complete food? And it is a complete food. Dog will survive very well on that. Why do I do it? It adds a little bit of flavour. I mean, one thing with dry food, it lacks that palatability totally for some breeds of dogs. So a little bit, just a tiny bit of meat mixed with a lot of dry food, or a little bit of fish mixed with the dry food. It adds, and a bit of water, it adds palatability. It also raises the quality of protein. Now, I don't know what the quality of protein is in Advance. I dare say it's high. But if you take egg yolk as being a 10 out of 10 for protein, and you take the protein and say pasta as being maybe a 3, if you mix egg yolk with your pasta, you increase the quality of the protein in the pasta. It's called a synergistic effect. It's probably because you're opening up various metabolic pathways and digestive pathways, but you actually increase the quality by adding a little bit of that. So what I do see, what I often used to see in practice, was the person, it was usually a male that bought a very expensive dog like a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler, or he wanted to be the biggest and the best ever. And he wasn't going to feed any of this rubbish. He was just going to give his dog the best meat he could. And they'd feed it just meat. Oh, and is that bad? And the dog would come in and he'd have flat feet, and I'd say, oh, I see you've got your dog on the meat diet. And they said, how do you know? I said, look at its feet, look at its toes. They're real flat. Even the pasterns, which are our wrists, they're sinking on those. The reason being, the dog's body requires a calcium to phosphorus ratio of 1.2 to 1. Now, forget the numbers. What I'm saying is you require a bit more calcium than you do phosphorus. Meat is 2% phosphorus, got a lot of phosphorus in it, and 0 calcium. So the body, when it's eating this, says, oops, we've got a lot of phosphorus and no calcium. So it releases a hormone to get the bones to release calcium. So in the blood, they end up with the right level of more calcium than phosphorus, but the bones and the ligaments have all softened because they've got no calcium.
So do you have to add calcium to a dog's diet? Or does
in some big breeds, you might want to add calcium, but again, if you get a product like Advance,
it's got it in there.
You don't.
Okay.
Because, and as I say, that's the main basis of the diet. The raw bone is for dentition. The little bit of meat is to maybe just give the dog a little bit of enjoyment of meat mixed through its thing, or it could be a bit of cooked chicken, it could be a bit of cooked fish, it could be just some raw mince, a little bit of that mixed right through.
What about you mix a raw egg in?
Yeah, raw egg was fine.
Every day?
I do that. I do that regularly, probably about once a week. I don't do it all the time. There is an enzyme in egg white called thiaminase, which gets rid of the thiamine. So you virtually end up deficient in the B group vitamin if you give too many
only the yolk
raw
then. So
eggs.
only the yolk.
No, I give the whole lot.
Okay.
Because to suppress thiamine levels enough, you'd have to give eggs every day.
Okay, so twice a week.
Yeah, twice a week's plenty.
I'll stay with dogs on this episode, and we will get to cats and birds on future episodes. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, because I know cats are mostly meat eaters, aren't they?
Cats are an obligate carnivore. They have to eat meat.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, okay, so cats are meat eaters. Dogs need vegetables and meat, folks. But we're going to stick with dogs because we're on a limited time here, and there's some really important questions. I've got to ask you, we've got New Year's Eve coming up, which is fireworks.
Yes.
Dogs really freak out at fireworks. Why is that? I guess it's the same as young kids. If you don't understand it and it's loud, and dogs have got pretty sensitive hearing, haven't they?
They do. They have they can pick up frequencies that we do not pick up. Some dogs just think, oh, that's terrible. Other dogs do absolutely freak out and take off. And sometimes it's dogs that you think they've been fine all year with all the other noises, but all of a sudden they just burst out of their yard and end up on the road and get hit by a car or get injured in some way just going through glass windows. I've seen the whole lot, the whole gamut of disastrous things that can happen when the dog tries to panic and gets out of its environment. So much can happen that is just disastrous for the animal. There's a few things you can do. If you're not going to be home, I would talk seriously to your veterinarian about giving the dog a tranquilizer that might just last, just a tablet that helps, like a sleeping tablet for some people, just so he is calm through the whole night.
You won't believe this. Do you remember our black and white dog from years ago, Sassy?
Yes, very well.
Well, Sassy, we were having some work done on the house, and Sassy freaked out at fireworks, and we knew this.
Yes.
So we put her in the top front bedroom, and we turned down the lights and put the radio on, because the builder out the front had a nail gun.
Yep.
Bang, bang, bang. And we thought and we went in to check on her, and she was shivering. It was very distressing. I didn't know what to do. After this, I'll tell you the story, because after this, we then took Sassy up to Nikki's mum and dad's place for the day because she was so distressed. So she's in the upstairs bedroom. She has ripped through the fly screen this is upstairs. So how many meters is that? She's ripped through the fly screen, pushed the window open because it swung outwards, and jumped out.
Yep.
And she landed downstairs, and we had some tomato steaks. How she missed them. Well, we're lucky she did. And she ended up running to Nikki's mum and dad's place anyway. She turned up at their house, but she was terrified. So from then on, when we knew the guy was using his nail gun, we took her away from the house. But I've never seen a dog scared of nobody or anything so petrified.
Yeah, it's common. Also, like thunderstorms will do it for dogs.
Oh, yeah. She was like a living, walking, talking, breathing barometer, because you could tell when a thunderstorm was coming way before. She could feel it, I think.
Well, they seem to feel that drop in pressure, don't they? It's coming. what I do with it with clients like that, I've often said, giving them tranquilizers, because they try all the other things. Thunder jackets can work. It works in about 60% of cases, a thing called a thunder jacket. You can look it up online and buy it for your dog.
What is it?
I tell them to get a particular tranquilizer called acetylpromazine from the vet. And when the storm is hitting or the fireworks have started, especially if you don't know they're coming, have a syringe, crush 1 or 2 tablets, wherever the dose is for your dog, in the syringe, suck up some water, dissolve it and throw it in. Within 5 minutes, the dissolved tranquilizer takes up in the body and they just sleep through it. Now, some of the behaviours say, oh, it's no good because I can still hear it and they're frightened. I think if they're sleeping through it, I'm happy. I'm happy enough that they're sleeping through it and they're not worried about it and they're really not unhappy.
We'll have to look up, I'll have to Google thunder jackets. Who would have thought dogs would like a jacket? Mind you, it's been proven that some dingoes like matinee jackets. No, we better cut that out, Kelly. I can't help myself. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
See, the other way you can do it is just bring your dog in and put both arms around your dog and firmly hold it against you. And that reassures the dog sufficiently to usually calm them right down. If the storms hit, your dog's really panicking, try and bring them in, turn the radio up, go somewhere the quietest room possible in the house and hold your dog very firmly. It's usually, in most cases, it just calms the dog right down.
I got another question, but we'll do this next episode. At the beginning of our chat today, we were talking about how sharks and other very old species that have learned to adapt and the shark's DNA. How is it that you wouldn't think very sophisticated reptiles like axolotls could lose a whole limb and grow it back? And can you imagine if we humans had developed and we'd lost a finger or an arm or a leg and it was able to grow back like an axolotl or a starfish? I mean, how can an axolotl have developed so well that it can grow back a limb that it's lost and we can't?
Most amazing thing, and the weird thing is that's the talk of maybe the next phase, that CRISPR and molecular biologists are doing all sorts of fabulous work, cloning and the like. There's talk about, can we just clone from someone who's lost an arm or a leg? Can we clone somewhere the cells that are going to grow that for that person? So instead of artificial limbs, we actually grow back at one and sew it back on. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Not in my lifetime, it won't. But
well, I mean, there was a story that I covered on telly and on this podcast where there's a market in the United States where people are paying huge coin to have their animals cloned and then grown again because they can't cope with the loss.
Yes, I've done that.
You can actually, and do you get the same animal back? You've actually cloned an.
I did it for a person who had greyhounds. He had a greyhound stud dog. We cloned it and ended up with 2 clones. The DNA testing, when we did a lot of different satellites along the way, was 100% for both. Then he applied to the greyhound board, could he use these dogs at stud? They said no. So he'd spent quite a lot of money, over $100,000 for these clones. Ended up he couldn't use them at stud because they just said, but you know what? I know he did not use them. I do know that for a fact. But had he used them, no one would have been able to tell the difference. The DNA was 100%. But interestingly...
Same personality? I mean, the same person?
Look, they did it in America with cutting horses. A cutting horse is a horse that works in close proximity with cattle in a yard, a bit like Kelpies do it with sheep or our cattle dogs inside the yard. Cutting horses do that sort of work, separating a calf or 2 out and keeping them in a corner. And they're worth millions of dollars. A good cutting horse in America sells for a lot of money. They cloned this horse, got the exact replica, but couldn't do the same work. You can clone the body, but you can't clone the spirit.
Wow. On that note, I will leave you today, but you know what? You've put the bait on the hook for me, and I can't wait for our next chat. Can we talk again soon?
Great to be here with you, my friend. Great to be part of your family, and this podcast is very much, it really is a family podcast, so thank you very much.
Well, some of it is. Some of it, there are warnings. And just, you got to remember, the executive producer of this podcast is a 28-year-old millennial whose language can get a bit fruity. However,
she's beautiful.
You talk Kelsey. No, I'm talking about. Yeah. But anyway, I'll pass on. Oh, and before I let you go, Rob. So Holly's beautiful little Mary there she's just told me she's 4 months old.
4 months old.
She's
right.
4 months old, and you've seen the photos. What should Holly do now with diet at 4 months? And the dog's got big feet, so it's going to be a big dog, I think. And also, what should happen with desexing and that sort of thing?
Yeah, great. Look, firstly, folks, a Miri is a dog in Aboriginal language. Substitute the word dog for Miri, or better still, just use the word Miri all the time as a dog. I love it. It's a beautiful word.
But it's not an Australia-wide term. It's one that I learnt from my family, which was a Barkindji and then Wiradjuri. So other Aboriginal lingo may not use the word Miri, but I did and my family do, and that's what I call a dog a Miri. So there you are.
But a young dog like that, usually fed twice a day, and that's all, not little tidbits all the time. You don't want to be doing that.
Oh, but she's so easy to train because she's food driven. You get out one of those little liver, the little liver
treats,
biscuits, the little liver biscuits. She will do anything for one of them. Oh, you should see. She sits, she spins around, she drops, she shakes hands at 4 months because of these liver treats.
But a little bit at a time. Anyway, dry food mixed with a bit of water and a little bit of added protein that you might want to use. That we've talked about.
An egg yolk,
cooked chicken, cooked fish, egg yolk, whatever. Even canned fish. I do use canned fish. I use sardines as well for my dogs.
When Sassy got arthritis, when she got very old, we gave her cans of canned tuna in oil, not the brine.
Yeah. Yes.
And she was a different dog afterwards.
Those omega oils, they're good for that. Yeah. Plus a raw bone once a week. I start them now. She's teething and the bones will help the teething greatly. Save maybe some shoes and other things around the place. So that's what I do. As far as desexing,
yes,
I always tell people, and now it's become common in veterinary practice to say the same thing at last. Let them have one cycle, one estrus cycle or even 2 estrus cycles before you desex. Now, why? At the moment, the vulva and the vagina are infantile. You desex now, they stay infantile. So as they grow, they stay small. The urine can scald the area. You can get a lot of severe dermatitis and scalding in the area. Plus, they become incontinent. They can become incontinent very early in life. Let them have 1 or 2 cycles where the vulva and the vagina become bigger and swell up, where the sphincters, all under the effect of hormones, which get firmer, and things go a lot better for them in the long run.
So let her come into season.
Yes, let her come into season. Keep her away from any male dogs at that time as well. Forget the walks because the male dogs will track her back home. If you want to take her for a walk, pop her in the car, drive somewhere, walk around, then pop her back in the car and come home that way. Well away. Don't leave a trail going back to your home because
they'll follow it.
They'll follow it. So when they're in season, just keep them away from male dogs. It lasts 3 weeks, the season. After the season, she is pregnant. Even if she has not been mated, she is pregnant hormonally. A dog produces all the hormones of pregnancy for 9 weeks after a season. So she might be a bit quieter. She'll actually develop some breasts, and some of them even develop milk. It's called a false pregnancy, and that's all it is. That's okay. It's all natural. And usually they'll come in a season, a big dog like her, somewhere between 9 to 18 months, more likely 12 to 14 months. It will be her first season. And usually 6 months after that will be the next season. Get rid of those and then have her desexed after that.
At 2?
Well, once she's finished the 2 seasons, she can be desexed, a second cycle. And that could be 18 months. She might have one cycle of 12 months, another. It just varies from dog to dog. Normally, it would be sometime after 18 months that she will have her second cycle by then. But some dogs, 2 years old before they have their first cycle. So they're all individuals, just like us.
Okay. So
we got through a lot today.
It was a family show up until then. Mate, thank you so much.
All right, brother. All the best.
apologising for missing an episode. Time is short, life is good. It's time for us to turn to a hardcore man cave.
Time for another exciting episode of The Man Cave, and we have a very hot and bothered Vice Captain with us this morning, folks. He's not happy. In fact, that beautiful light pink shiny head of his is now bright red. He's having Millennial, he's having technical glitch problems, all brought about by his own stupidity, I will tell you that. But I relate to what he's saying because I'm a dumbass too. But Adam, I also want to talk about interesting things you've seen this week and interesting things that you're trying to sell, things that you have bought that you think are worthwhile. And Jason Morrison, social commentator, will be joining us also a little later in the program. But Vice Captain, you need a Valium or something.
I need something.
You need to take a deep breath. Maybe just go and lie in the fetal position in a dark room for a little while. Tell our listeners what's happened to you, because can I say this? The Millennial is going to get very frustrated with you. But look, Adam, I'm with you. I understand your frustration, so take us through it.
So 2 days ago, I was getting out of the truck and I dropped my phone and smashed the screen to smithereens. Like, you can't read it, it's just making all these noises, these glitches. So now that I'm locked out of that phone, I went and got another phone, but I can't transfer the data because I don't know any passwords. Now, I know what fucking Kelsey's going to say. She's going to say, it's your fault for not knowing these passwords, and I get that, but I literally can't do anything. I don't have any email. I don't have any contacts. I don't have any music. Like, I can't even listen to music on my phone because it's all stored somewhere in a cloud or whatever. And today I get the pleasure of going down to the Apple store and chatting to some 19-year-old snot-nosed fucking genius about how shit I am at using these devices.
No, be nice. When you go down there, be nice, because it is your. And I'm relating to you, brother. I don't know any of my passwords. No. And I dropped an Apple phone into a swimming pool in Bali, and all that stuff is up in the cloud, and I have no idea how to retrieve it. So go on, Millennial, unload. Here we go.
Google exists, and you guys are the dingbats for not using a password manager.
But this is the thing, Kelsey. I do have a password manager that's on my phone that you can't read because it's broken.
But you can access your iCloud on any laptop. You don't have to be on your phone to access your password manager if you have used your iCloud.
Anyway,
I literally log into your account right now. I could log into your account on my computer or change your password from this side.
Well, good. Can you do it for him?
Yeah, can you?
Can you?
Like, it comes down to the fact that I went to pay some bills yesterday, so I go onto my laptop and go to the Combat website. And it says, I log in with my number and my password, and then it says, we're going to send a verification code to your phone app. My phone's broken. That's why I'm using the computer.
Well, there's usually a little button on there that says try another way.
Yeah, there is.
And what's that? Did you do that?
Yeah, it's a phone verification.
No, but there's usually a try another way because they know that sometimes you don't have access.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll send a verification to your mobile phone.
No, I'm saying there's usually, and that's literally the try another way button when you don't have access to your phone.
There's two ways. I mean, I saw 2 ways that I couldn't do, and I thought, shove it up your ass, I'm not paying the bill. That's what I thought.
That is your own fault.
I'm not blaming anyone else.
Serious thing.
I'm not blaming anyone else. I will wear this dunce cap proudly.
Yeah, well, then when you go talk
It'll slide off.
When you go talk to the Apple people and the bank people, just remember that you're going to look like an absolute idiot to them. So be nice.
Look, I was in the Vodafone store for an hour and a half yesterday trying to secure this phone. This is the other thing. This is going to really get you by the short and curlies. I went in to get this new phone, and they wouldn't give it to me because I paid my last bill via BPay on Friday and it hasn't cleared to them. So they can't give me it.
Who's still paying their phone bills with BPay?
Me, okay? Me.
Again, you guys are like so archaic. It's so frustrating.
And how do you think we feel?
No, so
my God.
yeah, this is how good it gets. I said to the young lady at the Vodafone store, she was absolute professional. She was lovely. She tried her best to get me this new device, but they said, we can see that the money's been paid. We can see that it's been transferred. We can see the receipt number, but because it hasn't landed in their account, they're not going to give me a new phone. And they basically just said, maybe try us tomorrow. And that was the fucking answer.
Yeah, because you're paying by BPay. Who the fuck does that?
I do
Adam
because
does.
Why don't you have automatic withdrawals? What is wrong with you?
no, because the way I live, I can't make these automatic transfers
Oh my
because
God, you're the
some
creator of
weeks
your own
I might be
chaos.
out buying stuff and I need all my cash, and some weeks I don't need much. So I need as much.
Oh my
watch
God.
this.
What are you
You know
paying
what my
for
phone bill
your
is?
phone?
You know what my phone bill
How
is?
much
It's
is your bill costing you if you can't bloody do an automatic withdrawal?
Anyway,
You guys are actually ridiculous. You complain about everything, but do nothing to make your lives easier.
like I said, I know this is all on me. I know I'm just venting. Like, it is my fault, and I got told numerous times by my PA yesterday that you're a dumbass and it's your fault.
I love your PA. Fantastic.
Anyway, on to the next subject.
You're so silly. Surely Wonder Boy can help you get access
Wonder
to your
Boy's in
iPad and
Sydney.
stuff. Yeah, but you can do a lot of this stuff online.
Oh yeah, that's what I should do. I should call Wonder Boy because I don't know his number because I have no contacts.
How do you not know? Do you not know his number off by heart?
No.
How
do you know Luke off by
not know
heart?
your own son's number?
Because it's in my phone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Oh my God.
I'm with you.
I'll guarantee you, if you open the polls on how many people know their partner's, their significant other's phone number,
I do.
or the child's phone number, there will be 90% would say, I have no idea.
I know Nikki's, and that's it. The rest, even my daughter and my son and Kelsey, and I ring Kelsey every day.
That's right.
I've got to look up Kelsey and then hit call. I don't dial it because we don't dial it manually. It doesn't log into our heads. These devices have made our brains lazy. Now, when we had landlines, I knew 30 numbers because your finger actually dialed the number and it locked in, and also the numbers were a bit shorter. But I'm with you.
Here's a quote for you: "Smartphones equal dumb heads, eh?" Because the more the phone does, the less your brain does.
I agree with you. And there was a study done. And I talked about this do you remember, Kelsey? I talked about this, I think it was on Weekend Sunrise, how a study has shown that these devices can actually bring on an early onset of dementia because we're not using our brains the way we used to.
I can't wait for dementia.
I might have it, I can't remember. But Kelsey, these devices, because we aren't pushing the buttons every time we ring, they don't lock into our heads. I only know your mum's mobile. I don't even know yours, and I ring you more than I ring your mum.
Which is why it's important that you back your phone up to the iCloud, you educate yourselves on how to actually access it, and you can move on with your lives. It's like you guys create so much drama for yourselves.
Look, I guess it's just horses for courses. I know a lot about a lot of things. I don't know a lot about that sort of stuff.
Bloody educate you. Google exists. Literally, Google exists. You know how to type things into Google, right? Just do it.
Anyway, I'm just going to go to the Apple Store and get the kids to do it.
Oh my God.
Then I'm going to make one password for everything.
That is the dumbest thing.
I'm with you. Vice
It's
Captain.
be Adam McDonald 1234
Yeah, it's going to be Adam's password.
Yeah.
Oh, Vice Captain, I'm so relating to what you're saying.
I bet there's hundreds of blokes out there that are going, yeah, man, I gotcha.
How many mobile numbers do you know besides Nathan's?
I know the important ones. I know my mum's, I know my dad's, I know Nathan's, I know Pizza Hut, and I know the reading and writing hotline.
Pizza Hut.
Reading and writing hotline.
9300650506.
You see, it's a jingle. It's been locked in.
That's what I need to do. Put everyone's phone number in a jingle.
Well, yes.
Actually, I do know one phone number. I know my sister's phone number because it's a very, I think there's only 3 letters, 3 numbers in it.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Yeah. We must. Let's talk about something that I actually know about.
Okay, let's talk about something you know about, Mr. Memorabilia, Adam McDonald from Evans Hastings. What have you seen this week? What have you got? What are you excited about before we move on to other issues?
This week, We've got a Volkswagen Beetle.
Now
double-decker Porsches, they're called. It's a real neat little one, this one. It's sort of like, you know what a rat rod is?
A rat rod?
A rat rod, yes.
Oh.
So it's been modified to look sort of a bit rustic and industrial. So it's got the old roof racks on it. It's got some vintage suitcases on it. It's got a surfboard. It's black and red. It's a good little car. So car market down here at the moment is absolutely going gangbusters. So have a look on Car Bids, which is our sister company, and we've also got a Valiant Pacer, which really tugs my heartstrings. I had a couple of those as a boy. Yeah, there's some wonderful looking cars on there. Because I'm moving away from the running of a general showroom, we're sort of doing more targeted sales at the moment. And today I've got to go and pick up 100. I think there's 180 Scalextric cars, a Scalextric track that measures 3 meters by 4 meters, and this fella had it in his garage on pulleys. You lower it down when he wasn't using it, it was up on the ceiling, and when you wanted to use it, he would lower it down on the ceiling, and it's a massive long Scalextric track, so that's going to be good.
Now, Scalextric Millennial, now we're talking at them, it was a racing car set that you could set up at home, and you needed a big area, and the cars slotted in, and you had a control unit that looked a bit like a gun with a trigger on it. And you raced, and if you went to the corners too fast, it would spin off and crash into the wall. But they were a lot of fun, but they took up a fair bit of room, and they were absolutely huge. It was the Christmas present everyone wanted.
Yeah. Like this guy's he's got Bathurst winners, he's got he's got all types of ones, and the track's just amazing. I'm going to set it up in the showroom.
Yeah.
Get it going, and probably sell it next year. I'm just going to play with it for a while.
Oh, yeah. They are fantastic. Often they were set up just for 2 cars, but you could put 8 on if you had the right track, and you'd all gather around and race each other, and it was just fantastic. But you do need, there was a Mount Panorama Bathurst Scalextric track, but I don't think it rose like the mountain does. It was flat, but it had they had the cutting and the skyline, Forest Elbow, Conrod Straight, and all of that. But it was much sought after. And why did they disappear? Was it because of the amount of space they took up?
I think so, and I think the technology's not real advanced. It's just basically a little metal strip underneath the car that runs off the electricity that goes through the metal innard of the track. So I was speaking to Benny Hastings, my CEO, about it, because he's a big car guy. There's still a huge market for it. There's still blokes that play. I know up in Sydney there's a shop in Sydenham, I think it is, that's just a dedicated Scalextric track. It's a massive track where everyone goes to race their cars. And you think it's just like you pull the trigger and you go fast, but like you said, look, you've got to slow down on the corners.
You've got to have touch on that trigger.
That's right, because the cars are sort of pinned centrally, they go sideways. Yep. So you might, if you're on the inside, you might get. If you're going around the outside, you might get knocked off by the car on the inside. So there's definitely a skill to it.
Oh my God, that's so lame.
If there's anyone listening that has a Scalextric race car set up and you still play it, could you please send us some photos? Because I would love to see what you've got.
I forgot about this, so I'm kind of springing this on you now, Adam. But we got a message from Jim, and he wanted you to take a look at an original photo taken back in 1934 of a portion of the Brisbane Yellow Cabs Ford fleet. Let me just show you what he sent.
Green Studio, Brisbane.
Oh, yeah. Pretty cool. Look at the number plates, how low the number plates are.
Yeah, 108.
Yeah, that's like the 108th car that ever got registered.
Oh, wow. 107. I wonder who has those number plates now.
Oh, they'd be worth a fortune. We were talking about this the other week. That's a great photo, though.
I've just looked it up. They disappeared in the mid to late 30s. 1936, Brisbane taxis were transitioning from traditional horse-drawn handsome cabs, which disappeared, to early motor vehicles. Some of the early cars, Adam, Austin Stevens, Morris and Ford models.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, all that sort of early memorabilia and especially ephemera is still well sought after. You'd have to find
the right buyer.
That's part of the job. You got to find the right buyer. But I mean, as a punt, I'd probably say you're looking at probably $200, $300. You know, it's just nostalgia, though. You know, if your father had one of those cars, or but the thing with going back that far back, it's not you're getting too far away from in living memory. So you know, the stuff that's selling really well is stuff that's in living memory. Like you look at cricket memorabilia, Don Bradman stuff. You know, he was the greatest, whatever. But his stuff's really fallen off. Where people like Shane Warne, who people are still around, actually saw play or met or went to the Gabba to watch him spin up a storm. That stuff's selling really well. The high ticket prices are stuff that is within living memory.
You can't quite get too far away from the time unless it's like something.
Yeah, like a family connection or something like that. Otherwise, it's that market sort of dwindles.
I've just done a bit more research here. 1934, Brisbane Taxi's dominant operator was a company called Ascot Taxis. They were actually established in 1919, according to Wiki. The vehicle types, Adam, you are 100%. They were Fords. They were Ford V8s, and often yellow and black for visibility. They did have some luxury imports for high-end clients, but they were basically Ford V8s, but I can't give you a model. I'm terribly sorry. It doesn't give it to me here. So there you go.
So, Luke, you know how you just opened up Google and you typed in that question, right?
Yeah.
You can do exactly the same thing, but when you've got a tech issue.
Sorry, you're breaking up. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, sorry, I can't hear you, Adam. You're going through a tunnel.
There's a glitch.
Yeah, I do that a lot, Kelsey. I look up YouTube educational videos for things like my phone, for I learned how to shuffle songs.
You want to know what this idiot asked me to do this morning? How to copy and paste text into a Google Doc.
So anyway, moving right along. Just getting back to your VW bug. Kelsey's mum had one when she was young. She was still on the P's. It was blue. You had to clutch start it because the synchro mesh and the gears were. But and I think it had another glitch in it. But the most famous bug would have to have been Herbie. The love bug,
of course.
And its famous number was number 53.
Yeah, so this is a 1970s two-door sedan bug, this one. Yeah, have a look online. My mum had one when I was a real little kid. We lived in Townsville, and first she had a mini moke. Remember those little mini mokes?
Yes.
Well, the open top things. But then the old man said they're too dangerous, so he bought her a bug. But I remember we were pulling into a service station once, and this is before seatbelts, and the door opened and I rolled down the hill of the servo. So, yeah, Dad almost burnt that the next day and got us something else.
I always wanted a punch buggy growing up.
Punch buggy, no returns.
But they're kind of ugly now, the new ones, don't you reckon?
They're terrible.
They lost its, character.
Yeah.
No, I love my Hyundai Kona. I wonder if one day they'll be a vintage car. Probably not.
No, they're not made. They're not made to last that long. And electric cars, the battery only lasts 10 years, and it's cheaper to buy a new car.
That's incorrect information. They can last well up to 20 years if you treat them properly.
Yeah, well, let's find out in 20 years.
No one, electric or not, nobody keeps their car for 10 years.
Yes,
Luke.
they do. People my age.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
No,
look up classic muscle car sales.
There's a handful of those vintage historical cars, right? Most people in this day and age did not keep their cars
because they're not
for
classics.
10 years.
They're pieces of shit plastic.
You've got such tunnel vision.
Anyway, you're breaking up again. Adam, we have discussed in the past this Bonnie Blue. Her visa was revoked when she wanted to come to Australia purely because she was coming here on a tourist visa, but she intended to work, make pornographic movies and make money out of them. So her visa was revoked. I don't think it was revoked on moral reasons. I think it's because she was here on a tourist visa, not a work visa. But she decided to take the bang bus to Bali for schoolies. And lo and behold, Vice Captain, she was arrested alongside 14 Australians. Indonesian authorities arrested the 26-year-old over alleged breaches to its strict morality laws surrounding sexual conduct. Now, as we all know, Indonesia is primarily Muslim. Bali is primarily Hindu. However, they look at the content that Bonnie Blue creates and makes money out of in a much different way to we would here in Australia.
Yeah.
So she was arrested not because she breached a visa, but because of what she was actually doing as a form of prostitution. She could face 15 years in jail, and I doubt very much she'll go to jail. But should she be surprised at what's happened to her in Bali?
No, not at all. I mean, when you go to these places, it's their rules, it's their house, it's their home. Like, of course, she should be arrested, and they should throw the book at her. Like, there's plenty of places she could go that don't have those morality rules, but she chose there, so too bad.
You reckon? I was going to say, suck it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, the rules in every country are different, and when in Rome, you do as the Romans expect.
Exactly
for
right.
example, if you get caught at Bali Airport with a gram of cocaine on you, in Australia, it's hardly even a misdemeanor now if it's not commercial. You could be the next darling of Denpasar for 15 to 20 years, and people think that's outrageous. But if you know they're the rules and you break those rules and you get caught, well, you've got no comeback. Millennial, what do you make of it? You're a bit more liberal on all of this than I don't care. But let me make it really clear. I don't care what Bonnie Blue does if it's with consenting adults. Some people have criticised her for preying upon naive young Australian boys, schoolies who maybe have just turned 18.
Naive. They know exactly
and you claim they're not naive, but some people say that it's a form of a predator behaviour that she's conducting. I actually don't care if everyone's consenting. So she can do with her body what she wants to do. But what do you make of it all?
Well, I'm on the same page. I don't care what she does with her body. I just think it takes a particular type of arrogance to go to a country like Bali and participate in these activities. I just think, like, come on, it's just dumb. Don't go to Bali out of all places. Like, we're educated so much in Australia about the risks of traveling to Bali. Like, maybe we just have better understanding of the rules.
I think that's the exact word, is the arrogance. Like, I can do what I want. I can do what I want attitude. And they should throw the book at it. Like, I mean, but like you said, I think Australians are a lot better versed because of, our forefathers like Chappelle.
I do find it interesting, though, that when it comes to young men committing crimes, you like to think of them as adults. But when it comes to young men having sex with Bonnie Blue, they're so ignorant. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, that is such a fucking double standard. Men know 18-year-old boys know what the fuck they're doing. Come on.
Yeah. 18-year-olds are a lot older these days than when we were.
Okay, now I was discussing this with my daughter just yesterday because she said, did you hear about Bonnie Blue? It looks like she's going to go to jail for 15 years, and she saw a message on the phone. So I looked it up. No, that's clickbait. I doubt she'll go to jail for 15 years, but she may well be deported. She said, what do you make of Bonnie Blue? And I said exactly what I just said to you guys. I don't care what she does with the body so long as everyone's consensual. But is it something you'd be proud that your daughter or son was involved in?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all. But that's just me, I guess.
We're old-fashioned. We don't keep passwords. We don't know about the iCloud. We don't know how to copy and paste things. And we'd rather our sons and daughters weren't involved in making pornography.
Does the iCloud rain?
I want to know
how.
Yeah, there's a Joni Mitchell song called Both Sides Now. I've looked at iClouds from both sides now. So what do you make of it, Millennial?
I just told you.
But would you think? How do you think your mum and dad would feel if you made pornographic content for a living?
Well, they haven't made very wise decisions in their life either, so I don't think
they married each other.
Exactly. I don't think they're in a place to judge.
But the thing is, that content is around forever.
Yeah. God. Imagine, and I'm a bit older than you, Vice Captain. I'm just so thankful that phones and social media and the internet wasn't around when I was 18.
Oh, same.
So it's okay if you do stupid stuff. It's just not okay if you get caught doing it. Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's
because it's there forever. It'll come. It could affect you getting a job in 20 years. In 20 years. But had those consequences been around when I was 18, I may have thought twice before doing stupid things in public.
According to you, 18-year-old boys are ignorant, so you probably would have.
Not all of them.
So now you're changing your tune. I see.
Not all of them. I think anyone who goes into root Bonnie Blue on camera, oh, Jesus, surely there's a better way.
Surely.
Also joining us on the Man Cave is social commentator and a good mate of mine, Jason Morrison. Jason, thank you again. The vice captain's here and the millennials here.
Go, Jace.
Hey, g'day, Adam. Hello, how are you?
Very good. Can you just, before we talk into our hot topic for the day, and that is politicians' entitlements, can you settle something for us? First of all, question number one, Jason, and you're smarter than all of us put together. How many mobile numbers do you remember without having to look up someone's name and push call?
I'm a bit of a Rain Man with numbers, so that's an unfair question. I would say the overwhelming number of the ones I regularly call. I probably could sing most of them.
See the jingle.
Yeah, I'm like that, but maybe like you and I are of similar vintage, and Adam to a degree. We once upon a time didn't have phones with memories in them, so you had to remember phone numbers. And so it became one of these things that would just happen. But I know, for example, like the other day I had to ring my sister and she changes numbers a bit. I wouldn't have a clue what her number is unless it was in the phone. So, that's not good. So I have to fix that. But I can remember phone numbers from kids I went to school with, It's a weird thing that, I heard a fellow the other day who left his company he'd been with for a long time, and he's almost going to court with them over his phone. Because he said, look, I don't care about everything else on the desk, but I need the phone because the phone's got every phone number I've ever had. And, we all say we back things up. Most of the time we really don't. So if he didn't have an actual phone, he wouldn't have all these phone numbers. He's going to lose half his network.
Now, if you had to retrieve information from the cloud and you had forgotten your password. Now, Adam's phone, he dropped it. It's gone to shit. And he's really struggling to retrieve information. Adam's just like me. I don't remember passwords. How would you go about changing your phone, changing your Apple password, and relying on the cloud and some clever person at Vodafone to help you? How do you reckon you go?
At my age and stage, not well. So my solution to everything is I back up the cloud into a list, like a physical list, and I put a date on it. And in my computer and in my father's computer and in my wife's computer, I have a backup, a PDF file of every phone number I've ever wanted.
Man, that's a lot
so
of
worst
work.
case scenario, you print it out and you type it in.
Yeah, you see, the millennial is probably nodding her head in fierce agreement. That's what we should do. It's what we should do.
Learn how to use a password manager. What is wrong with you guys?
Well, I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Dashlane?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
You know what? One of my staff said to me the other day. We were trying to make these lists out, and they said, "Why don't you put it in a spreadsheet?"
Hey, you know. Have you ever heard of this? Ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of making an arrangement with someone to be at a place at a particular time, and that is what happens? So you say, meet you at the town hall steps at 7 p.m. and actually fucking being there. That's what we used to do.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
right.
I'll meet you at midday under the clock at Central. That was the place, or the town
and
hall.
you be there because Central at midday means get there at 10 to 12 because you don't want to be a chance of missing people. It's the old phrase about if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, I'm always early. I hate people who are late because I think I say to myself, "What does your time mean more than mine?"
Rude.
I am always early. Hey, both of you, I'm just going to go on a rant here because it's the hot topic of the day. And Jason, please let me know when your time expires because I know you're busy. Vice Captain, you've got to keep going soon. But I desperately want to hear both your opinions on the latest pile-on. Is it fair or unfair? Now, just let me go through this because today the pressure on Senator Annika Wells is just overwhelming. And the feedback from politicians on both sides of the political fence has been nothing less than underwhelming. So let's just have a quick reminder of what's happened here. Last week, it was revealed that Wells, who is also the sports minister, her expenses, like a mind-blowing $100,000 trip to New York to spruik the government social media ban for children under 16, came out. It was delayed by the Optus 000 crisis. Because she's also involved in communications. So the airfares they got were $35,000, return business class for her and her colleagues. But there's more to this. We find out that Wells has also billed taxpayers thousands of dollars to attend sporting events, including the Boxing Day Test, the Melbourne Grand Prix, a ski trip to Thredbo for her husband and children while she attended a Paralympics event. She also joined a friend's 40th birthday party while in Adelaide on official business. Andrew Clennell from Sky News said, well, what came first, the birthday party or the trip to Adelaide for business? She said, I'll have to get back to you. I'm not sure on the timeline. So,
bullshit.
So watch this space. We also find out that there's a whole string of allegations that have emerged, including failures to declare concert tickets, a $1,000 Comcar charge for a driver to wait 7 hours outside the Australian Open tennis final in January 23. The driver had to wait 7 hours. And there's more. There's a whole lot more. Both sides of politics are running away from this. They want it gone because both sides of politics have got their snouts into this entitlement trough. I was amazed to watch Hot Topics on Channel 7 this morning, where Nat Barr in the middle had Amanda Rishworth, the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, on one side, and on the other side you have Bridget McKenzie, who is a National Party senator. She asked Rishworth 4 times, okay, we understand that it's the Independent Parliamentary Expenses Authority, and that's called IPEA, that sets the guidelines for politician spending. We understand that. And then Rishworth and McKenzie both said, yes, it's good that politicians keep an arm's length from IPEA. Nat said, okay, you've said that. She said, okay, let's accept that, and let's accept that Wells at this point has done nothing illegal, possibly immoral and unethical, but she has stayed within the IPEA guidelines. Nat Barr said to both of them, should those guidelines now be changed? Neither of them, on either sides of the political fence, answered it. And my only conclusion is no, because we are benefiting from it. Everyone's into it. Now, it was also brought up on Sky News last night. A good friend of yours, Jason, Bronwyn Bishop, when she was made Speaker of the House, Tony Abbott's captain's pick, flew in a $5,000 helicopter from Melbourne to Geelong for a function. We found out about it. She paid the money back. But after we found out about it, and I'm very fond of Bronwyn Bishop, she was my local member for many, many years, but that keeps being dragged up. So, Jason, I want you to let us know what you think on all of this. Is it, one, immoral or unethical to spend money like this when you had Jim Chalmers, the Treasurer, at a press conference at Parliament House earlier this week telling Australians that they're going to be paying more for electricity next year because the government subsidy is going to stop? Then when asked questions by 2 journalists about Senator Annika Wells's expenditure, refused to answer. When he was asked a second time by a separate journalist, he walked away. He didn't back her at all. Now, Jim Chalmers, like him or hate him, I don't care. He's a pretty good retail politician and he's pretty good at reading the room, and I think he knows that the Australian public thinks this absolutely stinks. That's the end of my rant. Jason Morrison, take over. Your thoughts on all of this? Because everyone keeps using the term pub test. So, sorry, Jason, off you go.
I don't want people who are pissed in pubs judging what we should be paying our politicians. The pub test, that's a shit cliche. But let's talk about the pub test. Why do they all run away from it? You nailed it, because they're all in on the racket. Why does the racket exist? Because no one can explain it. Why do we have these rules? Because the rules keep evolving. I mean, this parliamentary spousal travel thing started back in the 1920s, when they said, geez, we spent a lot of time in Canberra. Why don't we give parliamentarians the right to bring their families over to Canberra on a train, and that can be part of their salary? But back then they were paid essentially, moderate salaries. They're not now. Annika Wells earns $471,000 a year. I can tell you, in the real world, she'd be lucky to scrape together half that. She's an underwhelming lawyer that works for a no-win, no-pay law firm when she's not in Parliament. And she's basically in politics because Wayne Swan, who was once upon a time the Treasurer of Australia,
when he quit politics, he lined up someone that was one of his mates into the seat. She's one of his mates. So you got this weird situation where this underwhelming woman who's had a very moderate legal career has been parachuted into a role that factionally she now becomes a minister of an important sector, the communications. And by the way, I don't think we need a sports minister at all, but we'll get to that. So she's paid shitloads of money to do a job that she can't really do anyway because she's not really good at it nor capable. And then we pay on top of it bucket loads, and it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in travel to bring her husband and her family together when she feels the need. And the need always happens to be not, Jesus, I need you down here because I'm having a rough week. The need seems to be, Jesus, I need you in Sydney to go to an Oasis concert because I've got free tickets, Dale. So she's onto it. I mean, they're onto a great gig. And, you mentioned Bronwyn Bishop. Look, this will show you how shit these rules are. Bronwyn Bishop's travel in the helicopter was within the rules. It was within the rules. The rules say you just have to do what you have to do in order to get to where you have to be in order to pay. She paid it back because she got sick of the crap from it. But she didn't break the rules. And the rules are – they changed the rules in 2010, so we're talking during the Rudd and Gillard years to – this was back when we used to pretend, oh, look, there's lots of women in Parliament and, women are special creatures and we have to make sure they've got access to their families. It's a bit like we're holding a gun to the head of these people and saying, you must be a member of Parliament. You make a decision. Like I'm at the moment up in Queensland and no one's paying for my family to be here with me. It's school holidays. I've got to bring the kids along. That's what I got to do. They're not paying business class flights for me to come up here, and nor would they be tax deductible. So I always look at it. If you wouldn't pay for it out of your own pocket, would you do it? And here's the joke. They've got an in-house travel agency in Parliament House. I used to walk past it every day when I worked in there, and there's some bloke there. You walk in and you just say, account code X, Y, and Z. We need 2 business flights to New York leaving in half an hour. No problem. And the travel agent makes a great cream of it. You try to find business class flights to New York that cost you $35,000. No one will be able to find a flight that expensive. And they can in Parliament House because they don't give a rat's.
Because it's someone else's money.
And
it's our money.
Right. Someone else's money.
So if Adam, Kelsey, if we owned a business and we needed to go to New York for an emergency when, by the way, the CEO of our company was already there because the Prime Minister was already there, and because of the Optus 000 drama that she had to stay back and she says we got the flights at the last minute, that's why they were so expensive. If that was a private business, wouldn't the CEO say, well, listen, stay and we'll Zoom your meeting. Yep. I'm already there. I'll speak on behalf of the government on what we're doing. Now, politicians are allowed 3 family business class flights a year. And she used one of them to go to Adelaide and one of them to go skiing in Thredbo. Do you think that maybe the guidelines, IPA, should say, okay, at least you go economy now, not business class?
Yeah.
Australians are struggling. You've got Australians that don't know how they're going to pay their mortgage. You've got Australians who don't know how they're going to pay their rent or whether they can afford to buy meat at Coles this week. And you've got Jim Chalmers coming out saying the electricity rebate's over next year, so they're going to be paying more for electricity. And then for this to come along at exactly the same time and for him to not address it, just say, oh, it's IPA's decision, it doesn't cut it.
Well, this is the thing, Luke, and I was listening to your podcast about Lawsy the other day. You nailed it when you were talking about the cash for comment. You said he's ruined it for all of us. So that's why these two politicians are sort of sitting on the fence or sticking their head in the sand, because if they all do it, it's a massive slush fund. And now that she's getting called out, they're all thinking, "Fuck, well, it's going to be taken off us."
Yeah, I think that she's gone
over the line. It's like that thing where she's just gone so hard out and taking as much as she can, where everyone else is, taking a little bit here, a little bit there, whatever. It doesn't get pulled up by the media, but because hers is so outlandish, that's why she's going to ruin it for everyone.
The family reunion travel rules. I'm so glad you explained that, Jason. Back in the early days of Canberra, and your family could come up on a train and see you. Both this morning, Amanda Rishworth and Bridget McKenzie said, politicians have a tough job. It's a job like no other. We give so
Bullshit.
much. We give so much back to the public, and the stress of not seeing our families is often too much. Well, hang on.
Well, get out of it. Get out of it then. If it's too much and it's too hard. I mean, yeah, I'm sure my wife's not delighted that I'm up here, but I brought half the kids with me and I'm paying for it. Families do what families have to do. There are blokes, men and women all over Australia that fly in, fly out workers that work 30 days away from home and they get home. And, it puts huge pressures on families. But I can tell you, it's not a tough time in Canberra. They're on the piss most of the time. If they're not there, they're having flat out nights in restaurants and whatever else.
Exactly right.
It's a fucking party town, mate, and it's a joke.
Is it also further proof that politicians and public servants who work in Canberra are in this bubble and they just have lost complete touch with reality?
Yeah. I remember you used to be able to, I don't know if it's still on the ABC, you used to be able to watch Question Time in Parliament. Yeah. And half those cats are just, they're sauced up. They've been at a long lunch and they just sit at the back. Oh, yeah, he, like a bunch of fucking pirates.
Yeah. I won't tell you. I won't tell you who I was with on this podcast, but I'm happy to tell you both off air. When I worked in Canberra, I was invited to the parliamentary dining room, Jason, and vice captain.
Yeah.
And it was with a prominent politician and his chief of staff, because I was on 2CC. You should see the prices on the menu and you should see the wine that's available. I would say 3 bottles of pretty good red had been consumed and a very, very good meal, all subsidised. And the division bells rang. And the politician said to his chief of staff, I think that's me. And he said, quote, what am I voting on again?
Wow, boy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a real surreal experience. I've done it a few times too. I know what you're talking about. And the smorgasbord is unbelievable. Like, I want you to think of the flashiest 5-star restaurant anywhere in the country that has a smorgasbord, and you go into Parliament and it's there every day. That's your lunchroom. And you bring your sort of smoozy staff with you and they enjoy it too. And you sit around and you talk about great things for Australia, like how can we make sure we branch stack the seat? How can we F over this person? How can we that, mate? It's a party town. It's the worst bloody thing we ever did. But we've done it and it's done. But we'll never take this away, because when they take it away, they use this argument, oh, look, if we don't have these things, we're not going to have high-quality people going to Canberra anymore wanting to be politicians. Well, look, we've got the best system money can buy. People paid more to be in the Australian Parliament than they paid to be in Congress in the United States. Our Prime Minister is paid more than the US President. Our Prime Minister is paid more than the bloke in number 10 Downing Street, and he gets 2 houses, one of them on Sydney Harbour as well. Like, it's just the sweetest deal, and it says so much about our country that we don't really give a shit enough to fix it. And, in other countries, there'd be uprising. There'd be people burning things outside Parliament. In Australia, it's like we laugh at it because it is just such a giggle. And they just live permanently in this state that they have convinced themselves. I mean, I remember someone saying to me once, we've got to put the wages up because, we're just not getting the right calibre of people up. So they put the wages up. And so someone like Annika Wells, who you wouldn't feed, is on $471,000 plus an electoral allowance, plus all this bullshit that we're talking about, plus. Oh, and by the way, a car permanently waiting. Once upon a time, like you'll remember this, there was a New South Wales MP called Reba Ma.
Yeah.
And Reba Ma was a bit of a party girl, and she was the health minister too, which I always think is quite funny. We put these underwhelming people in charge of really important stuff. And she went out one night, got absolutely shit-faced, and the poor old driver spent the whole night sleeping downstairs in the car park because she had instructed him to wait there. I used to see it all the time. My old offices were at Martin Place in Sydney, and that's sort of in the sort of government epicentre. And you'd see these or com cars or state government limos parked there all the time, and the people would stumble back pissed from the pub or pissed from the Christmas party, and it's an entitlement. Now take me home. And I think these drivers, they're paid on timesheets, and we're paying them on timesheets, and they're on huge amounts of money an hour because the poly, couldn't for a second get public transport. I mean, no one would pick Annika Wells in a lineup. It's not like her life is at risk if she travels home in public transport or if she has to get on a bus or get a taxi. No one would pick her in a lineup. They're not going to know her.
Not at all.
Look, there's a lot that can't be said, and a reason can't be said is because it's in the zone of rumour and innuendo. But let's just say she's a protected species down there, and a lot of people in Canberra know why.
Okay, let me just one more thing. Does this now need to go to ICAC or an equivalent thereof? This is something that puzzles me. She also spent well over $1,000 on a dinner in Paris. And she had 2 staffers with her and the ambassador, but they weren't talking about, they weren't there on official business. 2 separate bills, both paid for by the taxpayer. One was $700 worth of alcohol. $700 worth of alcohol at a restaurant in Paris. And she said that she can't quite remember who paid for what because she fell asleep at the table. She fell asleep at the table. They're her words. Now, what's going on there?
I'll guarantee you.
I think we know what's going on there.
I'll guarantee you this will get pushed under the carpet and it'll go away because all of them are in on it and they're all just going to say, well, if we blow this one up and we set rigid guidelines, it's all over. It's over for all of us. So I'll guarantee you this will just be we don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, well, that was really proven to me this morning on Sunrise with Amanda Rishworth and Bridget McKenzie. I couldn't believe how they both ran from it. Jason?
Yeah, Christmas will save her. That's right. It, Christmas. In a very short time, a lot of people are not going to give a crap about anything else other than what's right in front of them, and that'll mean she'll drift off the page. And there comes a point. It was a good observation. Paul Murray made the observation last night on Sky. He said that now that she's referred, talk about the arrogance, I've referred my entitlements off to independent audit. So she'll be able to now say, look, there's an independent investigation underway, and as a result, it would be inappropriate for me to comment further. And there is a point when you just keep saying this and saying this and saying this that most of the lemmings in Parliament House, the reporters, will just go, oh, fuck this. I'll move on. And that's where this is almost at. I haven't scanned the entire nation's newspapers, but I'm going to say she'd probably only be on the front page of 1 or 2 now, and it'll eventually go away because people will say this story's going nowhere. And that's what journalists think, story's going nowhere. They don't read that the public is filthier by the day on it. They go, it's going nowhere, so it starts to get diminished. Christmas will save her.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So tell me this, Jason. Do you think she'll survive politically?
Yeah, I do. The only look, Labor's good at this. They often will say to people, "Hey, look, this is really hurting us. Getting bad feedback on it. Could you piss off for 6 months? There'll be a new job for you."
Yeah.
And they, look, we buried old Richo yesterday. He wrote the book on this, and he was very good at knowing how to make things disappear. And if you're one of these people who'd make the call, Annika, sorry, you're going to have to take a pay cut for a few months. It'll cost you $25,000. You're going to get moves, but you'll be a parliamentary secretary in the new redistribution, and the whole shit will be back on again for you. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, but Richo, I worked with Richo, as you know, and he also said, who was a great retail politician, he also said the mob will always sort you out.
How do I be polite here and say the mob didn't sort him out? The mob doesn't always sort people out.
It was one of his great sayings, though. Jason, I know you got to go, but listen, Australian kids under the age of 16 can no longer go on social media platforms. We've already discussed this with Trevor Long. There are plenty of platforms similar to the ones they're banned from that they can get on. Trevor also, and I saw his podcast on EFTM the other day, he was quite easily able to get his 15-year-old daughter to cheat the system, even with a verification photo. Jason, you've got young kids. You're a father, and you're a lot more tech savvy than me and Adam put together, apparently. How's this affecting you and your household? And do you think this will work?
Okay, a lot of questions. Let me go. Well, first one, I'll say, how's it going to work in our house? It's already working in our house because we did it ourselves. So they're not on Snapchat. They have access to Facebook Messenger. But we get to see any message they send to anyone, anywhere, and we get to approve who they can talk to. I'm happy for that to continue. YouTube's still a problem. I mean, I'm looking through the glass here at one of my kids inside doing some stupid dance of K-pop that he's learned on YouTube. Now, there's no harm in him doing a K-pop dance, apart from the fact that it's a bit weird. But, I'm just saying there's so much crap on YouTube that kids are subjected to, and I think that's a poisoner of the mind. So that'll be my next stop is how do I control and regulate that? I don't need the government to do this. But, look, we're right bang smack in the middle of school holidays. So Queensland's about to go on holidays broadly, New South Wales similarly, and around the country it'll be most of the time. It's going to be a bloody nightmare for people because there are so many people that use these as babysitters. The old when you have babies, you give them a pacifier. Well, the iPad's the pacifier for kids as they grow up. And I don't want to sound like a parenting expert because I'm not. I'm just as shit as anyone else. But I think to myself all the time, it's really easy to rely on something to look after your kids. Maybe we're going to have to introduce them to push bikes. You can go and pacify yourself by riding around the streets. Someone jokingly told me in the fire brigade, they actually are, the rural fire services around the country, they're preparing for a lot more this summer. So because the social media bans got in place and the kids are going to be out lighting bloody bushfires. And you think about that, it sort of sounds a bit funny, but in the same time, there's probably a degree of truth to it. When they're all comatose in front of a screen all the time for hours on end, talking crap with their friends and whatever, they're not out up to mischief. So it's going to have a lot of people having to restore to good old-fashioned parenting again.
Well, these are big multinational companies that are going to push back on this wherever they can. And today may be the 10th, but there's a 5-day grace, I notice. So it'll be interesting to see if any $50 million fines are actually handed out for those who breach all this. Jason, I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your kids. Enjoy Queensland. And I'm just really sorry that you couldn't fly all the way up there and back with your whole family, first class,
business
class on the taxpayers' coin.
I wish I'd get some free tickets to Dreamworld. If I got some free tickets to Dreamworld, that's as good as a social media day. Just plonk them on the rides.
Back in the good old days, you gave them a plug. You got tickets, but Lawsy, as I said.
Yeah, that's what I was working at.
Yeah,
it doesn't work anymore, does it?
Contra. Hey, listen, Jason, thank you so much, mate. Talk soon.
Thanks, Jason.
On you. See ya.
So, Vice Captain and Millennial, what have we learned today?
You guys are idiots.
Thank you. And even Jason, who's very smart, he too is a bit lost on all of this.
It's horses for courses, Kels. Like, you're good at some things, I'm good at other things. So let's just try and get Adam back online, shall we?
All right, I'll let you two talk when we stop recording. Thank you so much, Adam.
All right, thanks, Skipper. See you later.
So thank you so much for bearing with us on episode 76 of the Bonafide podcast on behalf of myself and the Millennial and anyone else that I need to thank. Fantastic. Stick around, share, like, do what it is you've got to do. Send us emails, lukebonaradioguy@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook and leave voice messages 0291 28 9311.
What's your thought of the day?
Well, it's just more of an observation. You know how it's impolite. You're not really supposed to criticize other people's children? But I'm just going to say this. Sometimes my mother-in-law's daughter drives me mad.
Oh, ha ha ha.
See what I have to work with.
Goodbye.
All right, look, the episode's done. But before you pull the keys out of the ignition or turn off the lights, here's the dare. Stop dreaming about that holiday and actually enter for the chance to win one. NatureBee is giving away 20 grand of travel anywhere you want. Bali, Broome, Barcelona, it doesn't matter. If it's under 20K, you keep the change. Spend $79.90 on NatureBee products and you're in the running. It's just that easy. So go on, hit the link in the notes or head to naturebee.com, read the T's and C's, and let's see where you end up.